brother, the revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m., and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Powerbombshells 193. I'm Mel. That's Sam. We're just two broads talking about the wrestling we like. And in the background, Bob's speakers pick up trucker radio on the show. Nice. And there's one guy that comes into town and he's amazing. He goes by Detroit 970 and he's freaking hilarious. And he has the best sound effects. So if you ever hear in the background a woman sort of screaming, it's like, it's him, and he's coming through and he plays it to like wave to other truckers. It's amazing. It will like blow up while I'm working from home, and it's hilarious. It makes my whole day. It breaks up the monotony.
Well, I'm glad that it makes your whole day and doesn't terrify you when you hear a woman screaming.
You would love it. You would, I assure you that you and Nikki would appreciate this sound effect, and I hope just one day it might come through on our internet or on the show. Yeah. And that would be hilarious. So
it would be.
If you ever hear it, I live in Silent Hill.
So you've said. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. Nikki says that your hat is cute.
Thank you. I wore this to the Christmas tree lighting at the downtown Richmond yesterday, which we've never done before. And it was super amazing. And I got to shop at all my favorite local stores and see all my friends. Better.
Yay.
It was really awesome. We posted pictures on our website. It was so cute. Our little town is amazing.
It's so glad. Yeah, it sounds like it. From everything you say, it sounds like it's very cute.
Yeah, you guys need to come visit us someday.
I know.
But we'll probably come to you first because you have a Ren Fair I want to visit.
Yes. And I still have not made it to that Ren Fair.
I know.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to go. We're going to take you. We're going to show you all the wonderful things I know you guys will love.
Yes, definitely.
It will happen.
Oh, apparently Nikki is correcting me because she said that you look cute, but also her hat, because I said hat instead of you. So Nikki wants to clarify.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry,
I appreciate that.
I misread. My bad.
I appreciate all the compliments. Keep them coming.
Yeah, right.
Sam looks cute too.
Thanks.
We're the cutest.
I wore my it's hard to see on here, but I wore my Stranger Wings shirt. It's a Ugly Duckling shirt. But since Stranger Things came back for Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, I was like, it's the perfect time to wear my Stranger Wings shirt. It's hard to see, but it's got members of the Ugly Duckling on it, who I think they wrestle in various ways now. I think it's mostly Rob Killjoy that wrestles, but they used to wrestle when PWX was a thing. They were here for a while, and they were our tag team champions for a bit. So they always have really cool shirt designs. Rob Killjoy is very good at talking you into buying merch too. He's very good at his job. If I had a bigger bank account, I probably would have bought like one of every design that night. And I was like, nope, this is it.
Pick one. I can only.
Yeah, I did. And then I stood there for a few minutes because I looked at their shirts before, like on there, and I was like, oh, I like this one, but oh, look at this one, because they have like a Care Bears one, and they have so many cool themed shirts. And I was like, and so I went with this one, which ended up being timely enough for now anyway.
I think it's a perfect choice. Are you guys caught up?
We are caught up. Yes.
Yeah.
We are. We
watched through it way fast. I was so mad.
We were worried about getting spoiled. So we actually, Nikki was like, we probably should have watched this instead of the Thanksgiving Collision, because I didn't have to cover Collision, but we ended up starting like 2 episodes really late. Then we watched more on Thanksgiving, and then we finished it that Friday morning. And so
we pretty much got it done that weekend too, because for the first time in eons, Bob didn't have to work on Black Friday or do any of the weird retail.
Right.
It's a whole new world.
Right.
That's why we got to go to the tree lighting. We've never done that. We've lived here 6 years. We've never done it because usually it's like he's working or he's tired from working. And
yeah, I get it.
I don't want, I just want to hang out.
There was a there was a parade here yesterday, I think, but I forgot about it because we had obviously we were going to Ashe last night, and I think the last time we even went to it's been a really long time since we went to the parade, but I was in it at one point in elementary school. Nikki was in it at one point too.
Cute.
So
we had one of those for Halloween growing up.
Yeah.
Where they parade us through there, and we'd like get to walk with the marching band in our outfits and stuff. They call it the Monster Parade. It's really cute.
Oh, cute.
Small town. When I was up in one, I was like, "Get me out of here!" But older, and you're like, "No, this is excellent. I love it. I love my neighbors. It's just excellent. It's nice having a friend just come up and watch your dog."
Right. Hello, everybody. We got some more people joining us in the chat. Thank you for being here with us. Happy Sunday. Happy
before we get too far in, since we're talking about some of this Christmassy stuff, I got to give, I know whether he's here or not, on the replay or not, I have got to give a ginormous shout out to Brad for that pink Easter bunny from A Christmas Story outfit that he rocked this week. Whether you know him or not, I don't know where he posted it or whatever, but shout out to Brad for that gimmick, because that was amazing.
Okay, if he has posted on Twitter, I have missed it, or even on Facebook.
I don't know if it was on Mainline, but you need to go check it out.
Well, I will try to find it because I need to.
I can tell you where to find it, but I just had to shout him out on the show because it was so excellent.
Great.
So, I mean, it was very, very cool.
We've got EPW show said that Brad had him, and then he's got quite a few laugh emojis. So I need to see this now.
Yeah,
so,
I'll tell. I'm pretty sure you will have access to it, but I just it was too good to not say something out loud on our show about how excellent. I mean, when as a Ren Fair person and a carny at heart and a giant mark in the good way. Yeah, I enjoy when someone leans all the way into a thing.
Yeah. Shout out to that person on Collision last night who we came back and watched it after Ashe. But there was somebody dressed as Harley, I think it was Harley Quinn, as
yes,
in the front row, and because I saw them when Orange Cassidy bumped hands and they got super excited, and then of course, I think it was Josh Alexander, of course, tried to embarrass them or whatever, just make them up. But shout out to them for showing. I mean, I know they were at GalaxyCon because that's where Final Battle was at too. But shout out to that person for coming to a wrestling show.
Hell yeah.
Dressed all out. And then there was somebody, they were panning through the crowd last night, and somebody was in a banana costume.
Nice.
So
I
you know
love
what?
That.
Shout out to those people for showing up to a wrestling show after doing who knows what at GalaxyCon and still coming to sit out there.
I mean, the crossover is huge, so it makes it makes all the sense in the world to me, because I would easily go to a freaking comics or anything con or a fair and then go to a wrestling show. I still maintain that while some people have tried it, no one has quite nailed doing a wrestling show at a Ren Fair. Although Pennsylvania, they are close. They have a pretty cool dude that does, because he teaches people in Renaissance. He kind of teaches them by using pro wrestling stuff because they're crossed over anyway. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's impressive. That's the closest anyone.
There was somebody, and as you were talking, I remember somebody was dressed up as Timeless Tony in the crowd too. I saw her because I saw her wig, and I could only see her strap, but I could see that she had a black dress on. So, and I know people obviously cosplay wrestlers. There's plenty of kids that last night that were custody, but shout out to those people. I'm glad that you be yourself and have a good time, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else.
Exactly. This is the exact time to lean into that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you're already at GalaxyCon, you might as well just go to a wrestling show in your costume. Before we get into other things too, I also have, and we're gonna have show and tell in just a second. Because I got unexpected stuff. But before that, I want to back it up because we did go to Ashe's second year anniversary show. It was a really great show. Of course, wrestling being wrestling, things happen. Unfortunately, Khan was supposed to defend his Pan-African World Diaspora Championship against Calvin Tankman, which would have been incredible. But he had to come out with Ricochet on Collision last night, and he had to trip his opponent, and so he could not be it. He could not defend his title last night, which Suge caught him out for. Suge was the previous champion. He said, you don't show up to work. He said, well, you show up to your other work, but not the work here. And so he was like, you're clearly dodging me. And so that led to a whole thing. And Khan's partner from the Indies has now arrived in Ashe. His name is Moses. He's been there the last few shows. So at least we did get that. So hopefully we'll get Khan back and get that match with Calvin Tankman. But because of that, Tankman ended up getting added to the very first match of the night, which was already I talked about it last week, already big meaty men slapping meat match between Yaya and Bojack. Then they added Calvin Tankman, and I got a triple meat match last night.
Okay, that's fine. That's a fine fill-in.
It was so good. It did not have to go, as Nikki said, it did not have to go as hard as it did. But I'm glad that it did.
Nice.
Just fantastic. The matches were really great. A couple other things, like Nadia, who's their ring announcer, she couldn't make it for various reasons. Gerard Bronner, who usually does their interview segments, he was unable to make it. Caprice, who is the Ashe commissioner, he was unable to make it. So, but as you know, obviously we know the show must go on. The show was great. So shout out to Darius and Ashe for having to work through that, but also making it to their second year anniversary, because it is obviously, as we know, in the wrestling industry, it is hard to make it that long. So shout out to them. And then I got to talk to Charity for a few minutes after the show. Thanked her again. She did retain her title. Don't want to spoil too much if you haven't watched the show, but Charity did retain. She had a really great match with Jocelyn Navarro. That was probably my second favorite match of the night. It was really good. Yeah, and so I talked to Darius briefly, but he was very busy, obviously, with it being the anniversary show. But yeah, it was a really good one. If you're able to check it out, please do. And also, they put the pre-show on the Ashe YouTube page, so you can see 2 free matches that way. And then you can still purchase the show through their website or through the Patreon. But afterwards, we were on the way out, and we saw Jordan Holt and Zay, who are part of the Ugly Gang, who are a fantastic tag team, who keep getting screwed they got screwed out of the titles last month. This time they got screwed out of the #1 contendership match. And so Jordan was not in the match. It was Rayhan and Zay, but Jordan got pulled down and got thrown like right in front of us, and his head smacked. I mean, there was a little bit of padding, but his head smacked so hard we could hear it, and we were like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "It still hurts a little bit." So anyway, we were chatting, and I was like, I don't think I've ever officially introduced myself to you, but you follow my podcast on Twitter. And he was talking about how Powerbombshells was a great name. And I was like, my co-host came up with that lovely name. And so I was giving them I gave him one of our pogs and gave Zay one too. And so Jordan was like, well, let's trade. So I don't know how well you guys can see it. So I got Jordan's card. And on the back of it, it has a QR code too. I was already following him on Twitter, but I saw afterwards when I got home that there's a spot for an autograph, so now I'm gonna have to take it back and make him autograph it.
Awesome.
But I talked to them, and I was like, you know what? I was like, we've had a lot of people from Ashe on the show. You guys should come too. So
that'd be great. I would love that.
Yeah. It was really cool.
I love following them from afar. It's been like 2 years it's great. Like that's awesome. It's so hard to do any business for any length of time.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right. Yeah. And then we ended up, we didn't know let me try to get off. I have to take my thing off.
I'm very excited.
My things.
No, that's okay, because I want to see what you got at your wrestling show yesterday. Yay, Sam's doing show and tell. That's the best. We do good at show and tell. We've done a lot of show and tell here on the show before, so you guys should be used to us.
Okay. So we're about to have our own little mini wrestling crate. Because our friend Doug, who has been on the show before, subscribes to Pro Wrestling, the AEW Wrestling Crate, and he had stuff pulled aside that he didn't want for whatever reason, and so he brought it in a bag, and he's like, I kind of went through and was like, he's like, I have boxes everywhere, so I just kind of pulled stuff out, and my friend Matthew went through some of it, and then he brought us some stuff, and I think Nikki and I had claimed a couple of things. So I'll go ahead and grab this one first. This one, he wasn't sure if anybody wanted it, but Nikki did. So it is an autograph Matt Taven 8x10.
Nice. Excellent addition to an 8x10 collection.
Yeah, so Nikki's excited about that.
We should be.
We have a little tiny Christian looking for his peeps.
That is amazing.
I think I'm just sitting him here on my laptop. And then
that is amazing.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
We got a Julia Hart micro brawler. Sorry, this is like, there we go. Yeah, isn't that cool? I love
she's even got her hat on.
I know. I love the hat. I think that's my favorite thing about it. And so
that hat comes in so many different versions, and every time I see it, I think about her. I mean, I could get my own. One day I'll have enough money to get my own customized one. But
I follow her, the woman who makes her hat. I follow her on Instagram, and she makes some really cool stuff. And she even did, I don't know if she still has any of the pieces, but she did like a Julia Hart jewelry collection and has some like earrings that look like the little pieces in the top of the hat, which is really cool. But she has such cool stuff, and she makes all kinds of other stuff too. And then
so my friend who's in your part of the woods, she's got one of those hats that's her colors that she wears all the time. So I don't know if the gal is near you, but I know my friend that's from your part of the woods also got one, and hers, because that's the first time I saw that hat was actually on my friend who lives where you live, and I was like, oh, it's in her colors and everything. And then Julia Hart came out in one, and I was like, it's just like her hat.
Yeah, so I've seen that sometimes the woman who makes the hat, sometimes I watch her stories, and she goes to rent fairs and sells her hat. She sells her hats and stuff like that. So I was like, oh yeah. So of course, somebody that you know from a renter has a hat.
It's not that big of a stretch when you think about it.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, maybe I misspoke, but yeah, it's not necessarily wrestlers that he doesn't like. It's just stuff that he gets a lot of stuff. Doug does, and it was very cool. Yes, it was very cool of him to share. We did not know we were getting all this cool stuff last night, and so this might be hard to see because of the light, but it's a Kenny Omega pin. So
he likes you guys. See, the thing is that Doug likes you guys. He had extra stuff, and he wanted to share it with his friends because he's a nice dude.
He is very nice. Yes, we appreciate that. And so
because you guys would do the same thing if you had an overabundance of riches that you wanted to share.
Well, I finally he let Nikki and I borrow his Young Bucks book. I finally took it back to him last night.
I love you, Sam. You returned books. High five.
I did. And then also we gave him our cat Roman. We bought him a cat toy a couple years ago. He hates it because of the sound that it makes. But Doug has 4 cats, and Nikki was like, "Let's give it to Doug and his wife, and who's also named Cat." Yeah. So they brought it home, and last night he texted us when he got home, and he was like, "So 3 of the 4 cats love this toy." And I was like, thank goodness. And before the show, he sent us a video of one of the cats playing with it. So, and then he gave us a Switchblade Jay White sticker, which I'm very excited about.
Doug, you rock. You are really good
and then
friend.
Here we're going to. So then, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but it is a Kenny Omega t-shirt. See.
That's so cool. Yeah, we can totally see it.
Okay.
That's very cool. It has like a Cobra Kai vibe to it. I love it.
Yeah. And it's got down here, well, I don't know if you can see it, I didn't maybe hold it up long enough, but you can see like down here at the bottom.
Put it up at the higher,
It's in Japanese down here at the bottom.
Nice.
Yes. The shirt is very thin. I was like, what kind of quality are you making over here, Pro Wrestling Shop?
Yeah,
but and then lastly,
you can't always wash them more than once or twice, but they're definitely awesome to have.
Yes, and they're definitely ones that you hang up to dry. You do not put them in the dryer.
Oh yes. Those do not.
And then our last gift that we got, it was funny because Matthew had actually claimed this a while back, but then, and when he sent a picture of it to his wife said, "I got you that for Christmas." So, so then he gave it to me and Nikki. But it is the Kenny Omega pay-per-view collection from AEW, and it has AEW Revolution 2020 with Hangman and Omega versus the Young Bucks, Full Gear 2020 with Omega versus Hangman, Double or Nothing 2021. This is the match I was talking about last week when Kenny was Belt Collector Kenny, and people thought Orange Cassidy might actually win, and it was a three-way. I knew it was, but I couldn't remember. It was Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac, which was phenomenal. It also has Omega versus Christian Cage from All Out 2021. It also has Kenny versus Ospreay from Forbidden Door 2023. And then it also
that's
has...
what I was at.
I think that's what I was thinking. I thought that was the one that you were at.
Yeah, Forbidden Door 2 we were in. That was in Toronto.
That's what I thought, yes.
That's
and
the greatest match I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
I bet. And then the last match is from Full Gear 2023. It's the World Tag Team title shot versus disbandment match, and it's the Golden Jets, which I wish they hadn't had that on there, versus the Young Bucks. The match was good, but I was not a fan of the Golden Jets.
Yeah, the only match out of all those. Plus, you've got what Dave Meltzer has largely decided is the greatest tag team match of all time on there. So.
yes.
It's the Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman was like, he still like goes around and around when I occasionally get to listen to him, and he still goes around and he's like, yeah, it's still the greatest one I've ever seen. It's just like, it's amazing. There's incredible. So much in it. The story is, yeah.
I haven't watched it in a really long time. And so I was telling Nikki, because for my day job, we shut down for the year in a couple of weeks. So I was like, we might have to watch a Kenny Omega match per day from the DVD.
That'd be super fun.
Because it's been a long time since we've seen them. Yeah. I was going to go back up here to Crash's comment about the Ashe Bio cards look pretty cool. Reminds me of the baseball cards you used to get from WCW and WWE. Do they do those anymore? I still have a full set of WCW ones from the late 90s. They have like... They still have cards. I don't think they're like.
I think Top still does them because
AEW has them, and they've done. They just came out, I think, with their second set of cards, but they came out with some last year, and then actually on one of the recent BTE episodes, they did a pack. They did I guess it was technically an unboxing, but it was each buck had a pack, and they went through and they showed their cards, and like one of them had like. I can't remember if it was like a piece of like ring gear. I think was like on one of them. It had a piece of ring gear like that because you know how they do jerseys for other athletes. It was like a piece of their gear, I think. And then I think there was like an autographed. One of them got an autographed card or something out of there. So it was a really cool packet. But then it was funny because the first card that Nick pulled was Camille, and they just kind of didn't really say anything about her. They were just like, oh, this is cool. And they quickly moved on. And then they like laid them out. So the camera, just Brandon, comes back and he's like panning over the cards. And then he stopped before they got to Camille's card. Because they're probably like, we don't know what's going on with her. We're not going to invite questions in. We're just not going to talk about that. But Matt was excited because he thought his pack was better than Nick's pack, which I think I would have to. I mean, Nick's pack, from what I remember, was good, but I think Matt's pack was better. So they do. And I think they sell them on the AEW website. I don't know if they sell them in stores as well. Like you can get, because WWE cards, I think, are in stores.
WWE, I remember right, are still contracted with Topps to do their cards.
Yes, they are. Because I remember I wrote an article about it like a year ago. But that's
I know a bunch of people on the Fight Game channels are like toy nerds, and so because of Talking Shop, I used to listen occasionally to their actual podcast, and that's all they talk about is like wrestling toys and collectibles and stuff. Yeah, we're all nerds. So, but I was like, oh yeah. So I think, because I found some in some way old ones from. I was like, oh, these might actually be worth something.
Right. Yeah, and I was looking at Crash. I was looking at the card, and I don't think it's actually an Ashe card. It's I think Jordan just got it done. It looks like it says Kayfabe Cardboard. Is, I guess, I don't know if that's the name of the company. Yeah, I guess it is. It said it was printed in the USA. It says this card's not been authorized, endorsed, or approved by any licensed company. So it looks like that maybe this is like an indie, like they just do it for indie wrestlers, maybe. But yeah, it's called Kayfabe Cardboard. But it's really cool because I don't think, yeah, man, if Ashe got a set of trading cards, I would love that. Also, speaking of last night, because they had where you can purchase replica Ashe belts, and somebody in the crowd had one last night at the show. And it looked, they were across the room from me, so I couldn't get a really good look at it, but I could see the light hitting the gold on it, and it looked like it was really pretty from what I could see. So it's like, cool, good for them. Yes, indies, yeah, there are pretty. Indies should do. I think there's some. I think Effie has some baseball cards, and I feel like some of the GCW people, wrestlers, I feel like they had indie. I think they had some like baseball.
Some
cards
of our local
made.
guys do it too, because I know that one of the people that I know over there does a lot of them. He designs them for the wrestlers.
Nikki said, "We have an idea for you, Darius Lockhart."
There you go.
We do have an idea for you. He's gonna like, please no. But so they that was their last show until February. They're taking January off, which I believe they did last year or this year too, which I think Darius needed a break, especially with all the things that happened yesterday. But they made it work. They had a really great show. So I will very much be looking forward to seeing them in February. And maybe Khan can come back and defend his title in February.
You can't you kind of can't say no to Tony Khan.
Yeah, I was like, that is kind of. I was like,
I know it's kind of I know it was a lame spot.
Mm-hmm. Oh right, no, I'm glad that that's why I told Nikki. I was like, I'm sure he gets a base. He probably gets a base pay and maybe a pay per appearance. So like, good for him for getting paid, and he has a job to do, and obviously the indies understand that. So, but hopefully one day. We will get Calvin Tankman versus Khan because I really would like to see that match in person. So I hope we get to have it. So let's see here. Guess we will get on to the notes portion of our show. So it was kind of a busy week, kind of like last week. And so last week we addressed some comments from Becky Lynch, and this week I want to address a couple comments from Bayley, because Bayley went on Undertaker and Michelle McCool's podcast, and I saw a couple of clips. I did not seek this show out on my own. I saw clips in my timeline, and that's how I saw these, and there was two that I wanted to address, and I feel like the reason is because they're both very similar. So the first clip that I saw was of Bayley talking about how she got left off the WrestleMania card this year. She found out the day before, like the rest of us. That's when she found out. This was not like planned all along. She found out when we did.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yep. And she said they threw her in a tag team with Lyra Valkyria. She didn't know Lyra, and she thought it was kind of weird because Lyra at the time was the women's Intercontinental champion, and she was like, this is kind of weird that they're making us a tag team when you have title. Whatever, we'll make it. She's like, I wanted us to look like a real tag team because at the time the plan was for us to have a WrestleMania match, and so I wanted people to believe and think we were a believable tag team when we got to WrestleMania. And she said her and Lyra ended up becoming pretty close. And so then she said it stung, obviously, when she found out Lyra would get to have her Mania match, but she would not. And you could tell she was being careful about what she said, but you could hear in her voice how disappointed she was and how I would say how disrespected she felt. And it was just it was really sad, to hear, and also completely unsurprising. But then I heard another comment from her, and she was talking about how when the 4 horsewomen got brought up, the other 3 were brought up and she was not. She was left behind in NXT. She didn't even know they were getting called up until the night that it happened, and Mercedes texted her and told her thank you and said that she was part of the reason that she got to the main roster was because of her matches with Bayley. And so just hearing both of those stories, I was like, they've been disrespecting her for years. Like, It started then, and it's still happening. It's been happening, like, all these years, because you had, like, when she was supposed to, when she won the Royal Rumble, and they were barely promoting her WrestleMania match, and CM Punk had to be like, hey, Bayley has, she won the Royal Rumble, and, like, nobody's talking about it, and they kept disrespecting her then. Like, I was like, when I just after watching both of those, I went to Blue Sky and I was like, Bayley, it's time to go. Like,
she was one of the most over people in the universe when she was Hugger Bayley. Everybody loved her. She was the biggest face in the world. For years, they didn't do it and tried and didn't do it and didn't do it. And then finally, Vince was like, we're turning her heel. We don't care. I want to do the opposite because I'm Vince McMahon and that's how I handle things. Like, and she did her best with it, and she's awesome, and she's always come to work, and she's always done her job, and she can't make her happy to look over and see Mercedes and Athena living their best lives while she's getting effed over and over and over again.
Well, and I think the thing is, if she stays, they already treat her like Natty, where they respect her and what she does, but they don't want to do anything with her, or they'll give her a few moments here. I mean, granted, Bayley does get more TV time than Natty does and has for a while, but they're going down that path where Bayley's going to be the new Natty, where all the new girls come in, work with Bayley, have Bayley teach them the ropes of how to be on TV, and then they get pushed while nothing happens for her. And I was like, that's what they're going to do to her if she continues to stay. And so I'm hoping... I really hope, I believe that her contract is up sometime within the next year. I'm not 100% positive, but I know that it's coming up sooner rather than later. She also has been clearly, like, she supports Mercedes as her best friend. So obviously when Mercedes was doing stuff in Japan and doing stuff at the Strong shows, Bayley was in the crowd. Yeah, Bayley has still been at the shows. She's posted pictures of her and Stat, and she said that she wants to wrestle Stat and things like that. So I'm hoping that she has the courage to leave. I know it's hard. I know WWE gave her start, and she's been there for such a long time, but Mercedes bet on herself, and looked how it worked out for her. Yeah. I think Bayley, I hope, has the courage to do the same for herself, because otherwise she's just going to be stuck as this WWE lifer who they just occasionally put on TV, but they're never going to treat right. Like, they started a story with her a few months ago that seemed like it was going somewhere. And then, of course, it fizzled out after maybe a month. And it's just, she's way too talented to be treated the way that she is. And
she's not, like, out to pasture by any means. She's got plenty of career left. So for her to spend it would be really sad.
I think
it's like, I don't want to see her go the way of, like, Asuka or something, where she just sort of, like, sometimes again, I haven't largely watched, but it's sometimes she's on TV and most of the time she isn't, but she's like one of their best stars, but they don't know what the F to do with her. And that's just WWE for you.
Yeah, it is. And she's just going to continue just being in this weird cycle if they put her, if she stays. And she's done, and that's the thing, she's done everything there is to do
there.
And she's the Grand Slam, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she's a Grand Slam champion. She's won every title except for the mid-card titles now that they have. So I guess technically they could dangle that carrot and be like, well, if you want to be a true Grand Slam champion, here are 2 mid-card titles we don't give a shit about that you can have. But really, other than that, like, there's nothing left for her to do. Like,
I mean, the WWE Hall of Fame thing is always the draw, but, like, do you really want to, like, do that for the next 5-10 years for them? Like,
right. And you see, like, so this weekend she'd been leading up to this weekend, she had been taking where independent wrestlers could sign up to do basically this training thing with her. And she got so many people applying that because it was like a submission through a Gmail address. and the Gmail address kept getting suspended because so many people were applying, and Gmail thought it was like a scam.
The scam.
And so she kept having problems. Well, finally this weekend they had their first training, and it was like a weekend. It's I think she's calling it Lodestone Wrestling, and it had a ton of like independent wrestlers like Izzy Moreno, who obviously Izzy, that was the famous NXT fan, that was the Bayley fan that Sasha always bothered. She was there. Gabby Forza was there. Janai Kai, I remember seeing in the picture. Nikki Blackheart was there. Just like a huge like ton of names from women's independent wrestling, and they were training with her, and she got Charlotte Flair to come in, and Charlotte spent time with them and gave them advice and helped train with them. And there was one other female wrestler. I don't think it was Becky, and I'm blanking on who else she brought in. But then yesterday, John Cena showed up and spent 8 hours with those women, answering any questions they had, giving them advice, watching their matches, doing all kinds of cool stuff. And so, like, I can definitely see Bayley going that route because she wants to better women's wrestling, which I think would be great for her. But I hope that she doesn't be like, okay, well, this is it. I'm just going to stay with WWE and do this. Like, I hope she does that, but goes to AEW and wrestles with Mercedes. I want her. And so she hasn't done it in a while, but one of the things that I was talking about this weekend is she always tells Mercedes to come back home. And then Mercedes finally responded to her and said, I am home. Like, I am where I'm supposed to be. And I'm hoping that Bayley will get the courage to bet on herself, because I think she would be incredible. Even if she didn't go to AEW, which I think she would, because that's where Mercedes is. But even if she didn't, like, she could go anywhere in the world that she wanted to, and she'd be incredible. She could go to Stardom if she wanted to.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah, she's incredible.
Stardom or TJPW. It's just if she's in that place mentally, and if she, I mean, change is hard. I get it.
Yeah,
and that would be a huge change.
Yeah. It would be huge, which is what I was saying. Like, a lot of people were like, well, it depends on how much WWE offers her. But I don't think the money, I mean, AEW, I'm sure, would offer her whatever she wanted.
Plenty of money.
Like, I don't think the money is the issue. I think it's, do I stay in the place that I've always been and who helps me make a name for myself? Or do I go elsewhere and see how I can be treated elsewhere? Will I be treated better than what I'm getting here? And I think that's what, of course, like, I'm sure money is a factor, but I don't think it's the determining factor. Like, I think Bayley is going to go, where I think money will not be, the deal breaker. I think the deal breaker is going to be.
I think I'm agreeing with you in terms of, like, it's environment, not finance. Right. I think she's going to get just as much money from either company because they're going to be playing against each other for her.
Right.
So
exactly. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see Bayley at Bloodsport.
That'd be amazing.
That would be fun.
If that's her thing or not. I mean, it's so hard to know, because we only know the WWE version of her.
I was going to say, she's been in that bubble so long. Maybe that's the place that she tests herself. Or even if it's not Bloodsport, maybe she does some indie shows WrestleMania weekend to test out what she wants to do. Or maybe she wrestles some of these women that she trained with this weekend. Maybe she goes out and wrestles them at some indie shows next year. I mean, or whatever her contract is up. I mean, that's a fair point, Laurent, that Bayley could be what Daniel Bryanson is to AEW if she makes the jump. I mean, that's hard to argue. That she could be that type of talent. Not even just the type of talent, but to be that mind backstage and to be in that women's locker room, besides having Mercedes, but having somebody of Bayley's caliber also in that locker room would be incredible. Whatever locker room Bayley winds up in, she's going to be a huge, huge asset to.
Just how they use her.
Yeah. I mean, Michael says that he thinks that Bayley is going to stay. She believes that she has more loyalty to the Fed than they ever have for her. I mean, she absolutely has more loyalty than they'll ever have for her. But I'm hoping that she sees what's happening with Mercedes and what happened to her when she left, and even Trinity for a little bit, like what she was doing in TNA for a bit before she decided to go back.
That's a good point.
Hopefully, but I mean, that goes back to the loyalty, like Michael says, because she's been there her entire career. Like that,
Yeah.
they
That's
gave
tough.
her career. It is tough, and that's why you hear, like we talk about all the time, these wrestlers who like defend Vince all the time. They always like, well, if it weren't for Vince, I wouldn't have this job. And so now it's like, if it weren't for WWE, I would have never become this, or all of that stuff. And that's hard. She's been there for so long. Like that's why I say it. I hope she has the courage to leave, because it's not a matter. I mean, that's a lot. That's her home. It's been her home, even though they've mistreated her for a long time. She knows what to expect from them, I guess, wherein this would be a completely new thing for her. And so I don't know.
I mean, it's fundamentally like a logical fallacy that Vince McMahon not existing would have meant that wrestling didn't move on and progress.
Right.
But, I mean, that's just, but you're never going to convince most of the people that support him of that. So,
right.
It's just, not real.
John Cena, speaking of John Cena, who I'm glad spent time with, took the time out of his busy schedule to do what he did yesterday because he believes in what Bayley is doing. But he also said earlier this week in an interview that he didn't want Vince to go. And people were like, I can't believe, they were surprised. I'm like, this man has openly said that he loves Vince like multiple
over
times.
And over.
Since this information has come out, he spent his last birthday. I think he was at the last birthday, but the birthday that happened after
the special birthday with the cat gift.
Before that, the birthday before that, John went and celebrated his birthday with him. So John, he shows you who he is when he says the things he says about Vince. He's not hiding it. Please stop acting surprised every time it happens. I mean, yes, you would hope he had a PR person to tell him to stop, but he's not going to, because he loves Vince.
Even if he does, it doesn't mean he's going to listen to that person.
Yeah, so stop acting surprised. John Cena has shown you who he is. Yeah, and so the other obviously really big story was that TNA is actually moving. They're moving channels. It was Monday night during Raw. I saw it afterwards when I was looking for a tweet for something I was writing, and I saw it and I was like, oh, we all missed this. So AMC tweeted, all they did, just a little video, had the date, I believe it was January, was it the 16th? Something like that. And then it was just the crowd cheering in the background. So it seemed to be hinting that the rumors were true, that TNA was moving to AMC. It had been reported a few weeks before that AMC had emerged as the top destination to land TNA wrestling. They made it official Tuesday morning. They had a meeting with talent, and that's where. And then they officially announced that they are making the move to AMC in January. They're gonna stay on their Thursdays. There had been some rumors that had they moved to a different network, potentially the CW, that they would have ran Wednesdays and gone head to head with Dynamite, which would have been a terrible idea. Ask NXT how that worked out for them. So they are keeping their Thursday nights. Their first show is going to be a live show from, I think it's the Curtis Colwell Center in, I think it's like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The only reason I remember that is because AEW runs there, and when I have to do Collision, I have to write where they're at. So I've typed that a few times, and so I was like, oh, okay, I know exactly where this venue is. So that's where they're running their first show, and apparently they're going to be doing a mixture of live shows and taped shows. I believe that they have to do a certain amount of live shows for their deal. I think I saw that written somewhere that they have to do that. And so, good for them for getting on a network that's in double the amount of homes of access. So that's a thing for them. And AMC, this is their first time ever showing pro wrestling. They've never shown pro wrestling before. But people, one of my friends pointed out, now they're really, wrestling fans are really going to say this is cinema because they're on a channel that shows movies, and obviously it was the home of shows like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Mad Men, like all kinds of drama.
Justified.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. And so I think I was trying to read. Oh, okay. I did want to go back to this Fightful note because this has been One of the things that has come up obviously is talent. It says the Rascals, Steve Macklin, AJ Francis, Jake Something, Jody Threat, Mustafa Ali all have contracts coming up within a 1 month period. There have already been some conversations with some, but others not as much. Some talent has also been waiting on said TV deal to see if it was going to go through before they started their negotiations, which is smart. Good for them. And then also the current women's tag team champions, The Inspiration, their deals expired after Bound for Glory, as did Cedric Alexander's. TNA has a heavy slate of talent that needs to get re-signed if they're going to. And then also talent like Rich Swann and Matt Cardona, who have not signed contracts since joining TNA, and a lot of TNA wrestlers have been doing like those short-term deals where they'll just come for a bit, so they're not signing full-length deals. It seems to have worked for both their talent and TNA. It says a lot of conversations are expected to start soon now that the deal has been finalized and has been announced. And yes, and they're also some other new talent, like Bear Bronson's name has come up, which good for him, because Bear Bronson, I enjoyed him in ROH / AEW, and he was released last year, has really, from what I've heard, really reinvented himself on the indies and has made himself somebody to pay attention to. So good for him if TNA does end up signing him. I don't have if you want more information and more deals, then Mike Gilbert is your guy. Mike Gilbert.
They put a whole show out about it.
He's the TNA expert.
He sure is.
He did have a whole show about it. He's been, as he joked the other day, he's like, I've been really mean to TNA as of late, which granted, they deserve for him to be mean to, because they've been doing some very questionable things. But he was talking about how good for them, good for the fans who have stuck with them for a really long time to get a TV deal like this. The numbers have not been disclosed. It's clearly not like they're not like, it's not an AEW type of deal, but it's still a big deal for wrestling to be on national television. And the more competition you can have, the better. Competition is good for everybody. And not everybody can go to AEW. So I'm glad that TNA is still a viable option, even though you can make the argument that a lot of these people just get fed into WWE, or a lot of WWE.
Well, I mean, they said flat out.
TNA. Go ahead.
They said flat out that the leverage from the WWE relationship was the reason that they got this deal done. So, I mean, which duh. I mean, I think we all kind of saw where this was going when they started partnering up.
Yeah.
What worries me, the only thing that worries me in this is, like you said, there's a bunch of talent that needs to be signed up probably. And WWE is notorious for laying people off when they make moves like this, or TKO particularly. I mean, because this isn't going to be, I mean, depending on whose relationship with who is, and they said that they weren't ending their relationship with WWE. So there's clearly other things behind the scenes that are going to continue to go on there. But I worry for the talent that are coming up on things, or have, because they're notorious. We've seen it so many times for giving people the axe and just being like, no, we're not going to go with you.
Right.
But on the other side of that, I completely agree with you. And it was funny because Jeff was mentioning how, it only goes so far. And I was like, yeah, I know that some of the wrestling fans are like, oh, no. It's like, no, guys, the more places to work, the better it is. The more wrestling there is on TV, the better it is for all of us. Right,
exactly. And then again, as we've said before, that it's not just talent, it's backstage people, it's creative, it's gear designers, it's makeup and hair. Yeah, there's so many things that go into TV production and so it allows these people to have jobs, and so that's always a good thing to have. And so I hope that the deal works out well for them. I do agree with a lot of people that they need to fix their creative now that they're on a bigger TV, because their creative has been a dumpster fire. Because as much as they've improved, I think they were hotter at the end of 2024 going into this year than they are ending this year going into 2026 because they're a bit of a dumpster fire right now as far as creative goes. And a lot of it is
I haven't watched in so long.
They are rolling over for WWE and doing whatever benefits WWE more than them. We've seen it multiple times. And so that's undeniable what they've been doing. So hopefully now, but they've got to fix their creative. It's been a dumpster fire. And somebody made the point, and they're probably right, that the reason Mike Santana lost the title so quickly is because AMC wants a big moment. And so when he wins the title back, it'll happen on AMC programming, probably. I mean, I guess you would think a pay-per-view, or even it would just be under their banner, I guess. And so I was like, that's a terrible reason to have Santana drop the title the way that he did, but it would not surprise me in the least if that was why he dropped the title when he did. But they've got it. I don't keep up with TNA anymore. I quit watching quite a while ago because of the creative was so bad.
Yeah.
So I hope they can get it together. Because they're going to have to if they're going to be on a bigger, because like people said, you can hide on Access TV when there's not a lot of people watching, but now you've moved over to AMC and
now it's on a channel that people watch.
Right. And so who knows, how much this is, our TNA fans will probably be the ones to follow them. I don't know how many AEW fans are going to go check out TNA on AMC. And I don't know how many, and more WWE/NXT fans would probably be, because there's going to be more crossover. I have heard, I don't know if this is true, but there was a rumor going around that AMC, I think it's AMC, not TNA, or maybe it is TNA, but regardless, they want AJ Styles to come be on an episode or do something, like not necessarily wrestle, but just, I guess, be there because he is a name. And he is going to be retiring next year. So they want him to come be on AMC, which I'm sure that would happen. You better stop. Well, because that isn't going to happen, because Jericho he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Brad says that Santana dropped it so Jericho could win on the debut show.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible, but you think he's going to be in the Rumble.
I don't know if he's going to be in the Rumble, but the rumor is he's going to WWE in January, and they're doing a retirement. They're doing a retirement thing for him, and they're going to, I guess the end goal is him getting, because the whole reason he's going back is to get the Hall of Fame. We've talked about that's the whole reason he's leaving, because WWE will not induct former wrestlers if they're still associated with AEW. They make them come back. That's part of the reason the Hardy Boys obviously they were fired because of because of Jeff and things like that. But the TNA crossover that they've been doing so much of with WWE is so that they get inducted into the Hall of Fame, which rightfully so. They deserve to be in it. They changed the course of tag team wrestling.
Totally.
So they deserve to be there. And again, I believe Jericho deserves to be there as well. And so but
unfortunately, the only way in is by being a loyalist. So
yeah, exactly. And he's already started a few weeks ago when he made his little comments. And
I think we all kind of knew that was going to happen eventually.
Yes.
I mean, I was like, not that's the least surprising thing in wrestling history for me.
It's not surprising at all. And would I be surprised for him to show up on TNA programming? Not at all.
Oh gosh,
if they want him to go to TNA, he'll do it because he wants to get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
And so he will do what they say so that he gets that. Would I be surprised if he makes one last trip to AEW before he retires? No, I wouldn't be surprised by that either.
Nope, that wouldn't surprise me either.
So
not possible. Nope, it's wrestling.
Yeah,
as Meltzer always says, time and money heal all wounds.
Yes, in most cases, in 99 out of 100 cases, that's what happens. And we all know that most wrestlers, when they say they're retired, they're not. They come back. We just saw Liger come out of retirement at WrestleCade to do a 4-minute match with Joey Janela last week. Man. Get paid, as our good friend Jeff Hawkins, our first diversity hire, says.
Our DEI hire.
Our DEI hire. Jeff Hawkins.
Jeff Hawkins. We do believe in that here.
Oh, let's see here.
man.
Okay. So to switch some gears, I think that's pretty much with WWE and TNA talk. This weekend, like we said, there's a lot going on in wrestling this week. So Friday was Final Battle, and last week I had my "What Are We Doing Here" segment about this card because there was some questionable choices. But before we get to that card, Thursday was the media call, and I got to ask Tony a question, and I asked, like I said last week, I was going to ask about Nick Wayne, because Nick Wayne is, for people who have forgotten, the ROH Men's TV Champion, who has not defended that title. And so I knew it'd been a while, and then I went back and looked. He hasn't defended that title since July 31st was the last time. Because he got hurt. He got hurt in a TV segment with Christian Cage before All In and had to pull out of the All In match. That's where he's been. It was a foot injury. And so I asked Tony, I said, do you have an update on Nick Wayne? If he's going to be out even longer, are there plans to have him vacate the title? And he said that his timeline of the injury changed because, of course, that happens. You can never, injuries are unpredictable. And so it took him a lot longer. And he said, of course, that one injury can change the trajectory of plans. And he talked about the pandemic. I got a really long response from this man. Like it was so
Politician
long.
Tony came out.
I didn't even type everything he said, just like a generic thing. I typed it in my notes because I was going to copy and paste it to my tweets because I live tweeted. I ended up just screenshotting my notes into 2 pictures because it took so long for him to answer, which I appreciate. But also, he was taking a long time to answer some other questions. And I was like, oh my God, Tony, I'm going to go to sleep. Please. This was a really interesting call. Anyway, it's kind of funny. I guess he was just in a mood, not in a bad mood, but just in a more playful mood because John Alba, that was more of a more playful mood. So John Alba was one, and you have to register to be on these things. You register with your name, and he registered apparently as Jonathan Alba. And so the moderator, Danny, who is really nice and he's great at these things, he moderates all the media calls. And he was like, so he called him Jonathan Alba. And so Tony called him that. And he was like, nobody has in the media space has ever called me Jonathan. And Danny's like, that's what you signed up with. And so then Tony kept calling him Jonathan when he would respond to him. Well, then the next person was Sean Ross Sapp. And these calls are notorious for because you have to, when you get called, you have to unmute your mic. You press the pop-up comes up and you have to say unmute. And sometimes the mic will not unmute no matter how many times you press these buttons. And it happens every single call with at least one person. It's happened to me a couple times. They couldn't get Sean. So Tony called him Shawnathan. Then he started singing. He was sending out an SRS instead of an SOS. And so he was singing that. And they couldn't, so they had to come back to Sean. And so, it was just, a really funny call. Well, then they got to me. And Danny said, Samantha Schipman from Daily DOT. And Tony said, Daily DDT. He was like, Danny's like, I don't have my glasses on. I was like, it's okay. And Tony was like, yeah, it's Daily DDT. And I was like, well, at least he knows. And I was like, and then I was thinking about it. I was like, I guess Stephanie writes for Daily DOT. That's where she writes for. But it made me laugh at it. I was like, well, I appreciated him correcting it. And so, but yeah, so back to my question. So I got a really long answer. He started talking about COVID and how that changed things. And I was like, yeah, so he starts talking about that.
Remember.
Yeah, and how that made things difficult. And then he was like, so anyway, he did say that he said multiple times the injury was not Nick's fault. It just happened. And he was like, if I were to bet money, and he's like, I can't bet money, but he's like, if I were to bet money, I would have bet that Nick Wayne would have been at Final Battle, that he would have been ready to go. And he was like, had I known it would have taken this long, I would have had him vacate the title, and I would have had an interim champion that way when Nick did come back, he could face that person for the title. He did say he didn't give a timeline, but he did say that Nick is closer to being back. Who knows what that means? Maybe to justify him not taking that title off of him. And then he puts over Nick and talks about, how he really is the prodigy and how Christian and Cope both really put him over. They both really like him. And Darby also put Nick over and he believes in Nick and all this. So he had a lot of positive things to say. And then he says, well, asking about this opens me up to talk about other injuries. So I thought he was going to talk about Rouge. Didn't even mention Rouge. He talked about Penelope Ford. He talked about how he hated that she was injured because he thinks she's tremendous. Would have been great in Blood and Guts. But then he tells us about Queen Aminata and that he really likes her. He believes in her a lot and he feels strongly that she can thrive in any style of wrestling. He thought it was really hard to tell her that she couldn't be in Blood and Guts. He really wanted her to be there, but the doctors were like, absolutely not. No. And he said, I had to tell her. And he was like, and so on tonight's show, so obviously this call was before Final Battle. I mean, not Final Battle, but before ROH's episode that night had aired. And he said Aminata was not cleared by the doctors to compete. She was supposed to be in the pure semifinals match against Deonna Purrazzo. They were supposed to film it the night before. The doctors did not clear her, so Aminata had to forfeit. So Deonna was going to face, obviously she ended up facing the winner of Billy versus Yuka Sakazaki, which ended up being her facing Billy. He was talking about how disappointed he was or how Aminata was really disappointed, but she understood why. Then he goes into, this is him still answering my question.
Your question, wow.
Right. So then he said, I'm going to talk about Athena and Persephone because nobody has mentioned them by name yet. And I was like, well, probably because they're going to wait and see if Athena retains tomorrow, and then they'll ask you questions at the scrum. But all right. And so he's talking about how important Athena is to ROH and how she's the MVP and how Persephone is one of the best young prospects. And he really loved her match with Diamante that aired on Tuesday. He said Athena's reign is remarkable. And he said it was in serious jeopardy against somebody like Persephone. And he's talking about how at Global Wars, Persephone's team won. And he thought if anybody could beat Athena, it would be Persephone. And he wanted to specifically shout both of them out because he thought that they were excellent. And yeah, so that was the answer.
Wow, that's a long answer to a Nick Wayne question.
Minutes. Yeah. I mean, at least he did answer the Nick Wayne portion.
Sure.
And I guess it just, the timing of it was that it happened to be like, hey, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, Aminata. I mean, clearly they taped the show the night before, so I guess it would have gotten out anyway that Aminata had to not vacate, but had to bow out of the match. And so, but yeah, and then he just brings up Athena and Persephone in the as we're going. So I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna screenshot this. I am not even gonna try to copy and paste. I was like, do you know how many tweets this would make if I copied and pasted it? And Seriously? And I was still trying to listen because there was somebody after me, and I was like, I can't. I'm trying to half listen to their question, and so I only got like a portion of what he said to Ella because I was still trying to. I was like, I'm just gonna screenshot this. This is just gonna be the easiest way to do it. So, shout out to Tony for answering your question. Totally. And I guess I asked a question that he was not mad about. So it was fine.
That's nice. It's nice for a change. You didn't bother him.
I didn't. And I got
You didn't bring the mood down on the lighthearted.
As Michael says, I got a 13 freaking minute response.
Yeah, wow. He sounds like a politician trying to skirt out of an answer. And like he just goes on a whole separate tangent that has nothing to do with what you originally asked him about.
Michael said, I have ADHD on his media call. And so his media calls are a nightmare. I forget what was even asked. It can be a lot.
I dare say Tony might himself have a little bit of that as well.
Yeah. I have gotten used to it just because I've listened to so many of them and have tweeted so many of them that I can kind of like shorten it. But so usually I don't. Sometimes I'm like, all right, can just wrap this up. But like Thursday, but before he even got to me, I was like, oh my God, this answer's taking forever. And he's not really even answering her. And I was just like, oh my God. Because it was Amy Nivity had asked him to like reflect on his favorite moments of 2025 because, like, I guess some of her questions had already been asked. So she's like, well, I'll just ask this. And then he starts talking about ROH just in general from the last 4 years that he's owned the company, talking about moments. And so, of course, he talked about the Briscoes and FTR for the 9 millionth time. And he talked about, I mean, the answers were fine. It just like, I was like, bro, she asked you about 2025 specifically. And he's talking about how he was thankful for ROH being created and he's proud to be a steward of the current version of ROH and how he thought this year was great and he really enjoys booking them. And I was like, is that a shot at me? Because I always say that it feels like he forgets about booking ROH sometimes.
Maybe. Maybe he's just living in his own world.
Yeah, and like I know, I'm sure he's seen that, and I know I'm not the only one who has criticized the booking of ROH, and so I think maybe that was just in general because he kept talking about how much he loves the ROH and how much he really enjoys booking it and how it's different from booking a live TV, but booking versus tapings, and then he's talking about how tapings save money. And so that's why they were doing like a bunch of the tapings at one time. And now they like I was like, oh yeah. So that was a really long answer before he even got to my question. And so, and then he had given a really long answer about if ROH, about ROH being moved to TV. He gave a really long answer. And then John Alba had a follow-up to that to kind of get a little bit more, because the first answer was kind of short. So he asked him to elaborate, and he did elaborate. So he elaborated a lot, but I mean, I appreciated his answer. But yeah, so of course, Final Battle, I knew that it would be a good card, even though some of the matches were kind of weird. For the way he booked them. But he opened. So actually, before that, I want to back that up. So 0 Hour, I was watching. I didn't watch on Honor Club. I decided to watch on YouTube. And halfway through Zeta Still's debut match, YouTube went out, or like it went out on YouTube. Just a black screen. Couldn't see anything. But apparently on Honor Club, it played fine with no issues. So at least the Honor Club people got to see her debut. But if people were tuning in on YouTube, they got about 2 minutes into the match and missed the rest of it, which was unfortunate. But the pre-show was fun. The main event was Daniel Garcia and Yuta versus GYV, which was great, with John Moxley on commentary.
Ooh.
Love John Moxley on commentary.
Yeah, he's great. He's a lot of fun.
He's really putting over GYV. And I even tweeted, if Death Riders were looking to expand, they should consider recruiting GYV. Well, James Drake / James Fake saw it. He quote tweeted it with a thinking emoji. So I was like, oh, interesting. And so he responded to him and was like, I hope you like to bleed. But so the match ends and John says, can I stay on commentary? And Caprice said, I'm not going to tell you no. So John Moxley stayed on commentary, called the women's pure match. They opened with Deonna versus Billy. He's really good at putting over women matches, and he was funny about Billy. He was like talking about how she's a veteran, but she looks like she came from an Avril Lavigne concert. And then he said something about how she probably drinks whiskey and smokes cigarettes or something like that. I don't know.
You can tell he has 2 women living with him. Like he's got, a youngin', obviously, but you can tell he lives with 2 girls. Yes. And he's such a wife. Like he is, I know, like even Dr. Lariat told us this, or he was a wife-centric guy. And like Bob was saying the same thing recently. I was like, John Moxley is definitely a wife-centric guy. And for sure. And I mean, we know like he shares pictures of his kids with his closies all the his kid with and she tweets about him all the time. I love that. My favorite tweet is still about how their daughter learned the F word. Yes. How could she possibly? She can't imagine where she got that from.
How would Nora have ever picked that up?
I wonder where she figured that one out from.
It's a mystery. But then, so he stayed out for that. Then before the next match was the men's pure match. It was the 30-minute Ironman with Lee Moriarty and Nigel. And he asked if he had time to go take a leak. And they were like, no. So he proceeds to call.
I love that guy.
He proceeds to call the whole half-hour match, and he's great, really putting over Lee Moriarty, obviously putting over Nigel. He's great on commentary.
He's clearly getting tips from his wife.
Drops an F-bomb, which
Nice.
I guess is fine because we're under a paywall.
Yeah,
We're not on national TV. It's fine. So just drops an F-bomb. He tells Ian, I can't remember, Ian used some really big word, and he was like, oh, that's a great word. This is why you're on commentary. He's like, and you're doing a great job. So he's like putting over Ian at the same time. And then they did what they do to get him off commentary. And they started after the match was over. They were talking about Collision the next night, put up the graphic of Jon Moxley and Takeshita. He didn't like that. Said what he had to say, and he left. So he was gone from the show. So Nikki was joking that she thinks he texted Tony and was like, I have got to get off commentary because I have to go to the bathroom. Please find a way to get me off here. And so they're like, we'll just put up your graphic. So Nikki said she was convinced that that's what happened. I was like, it may be so. Maybe he really did have to go to the bathroom.
Probably
he
did.
Said it.
I mean,
he asked.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Plus, he's not getting any younger. I know how that goes. So. And dudes especially, they struggle.
Today was his birthday, actually.
They can't hold it like us women. They have struggle. They struggle with that.
Yeah, so it's so funny because so obviously, and then of course Wednesday, obviously he had the really great match with Claudio, and then last night he wrestled Takeshita. And somebody was like, when AEW posted that today is Jon Moxley's birthday, somebody said in the comments, oh, that's why he was wrestling and on commentary this weekend. He was celebrating.
And he's in Ohio, so he's near his house.
Yeah, I think that's really why they were in Ohio. And he's like, okay, well, I'll come to.
It's like his birthday weekend. He's like, he's at home.
Yeah, gotta call the Yuta Garcia match, and then he's like, I'll stay on commentary. Why not?
Kick it with you guys. I'm staying. You can't get rid of me.
Right.
Who's gonna tell Jon Moxley no? I mean, come on.
Right. Like Capri said, he said, I'm not gonna tell you no. So
like, I value my life.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so the 30-minute Iron Man was incredible, and I thought it was for the title. It actually was not for the title, but it was still a banger. It was really cool. Nigel came out wearing his original Pure title that he had, and after the match ended in a tie, and I think it was four falls apiece, and Lee was like, no, we're 1-1. This match is not ending in a draw. I want a sudden death. So they did a sudden death. Lee ends up just barely beating him. And afterwards, Nigel gave his old belt to Lee, which was really, really cool. And I think that is cool. Yeah. So I thought that's
awesome.
That speaks volumes to what Nigel thinks of Lee Moriarty. And I think, I'm a huge fan of Lee Moriarty.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. I loved that. I love that match. It was really, really, it was great.
Right on.
Yeah, and I think Brad says, as someone who watched Yuta and Garcia come up on the Indies as rival, it's so weird seeing them as a tag team. Yeah, they were actually talking about that on commentary, because even, obviously, on the Indies, they were rivals, but even in ROH, they were rivals. They were going back and forth for the Pure title and stuff like that. And so, and they talked about that on commentary that, sometimes you end up tagging with people you never thought, and you end up on the same page with them. And they talked about how they're learning to tag with each other and things like that. So that was a cool thing. But yeah, it is really interesting seeing them together. I'm trying to think of what else. But so I didn't say, Deonna ended up becoming the inaugural Pure champion. Her match with Billy was really great. I really, really enjoyed that match. There were 3 women's titles matches on this card.
Wow.
So we got the 4th match on the pre-show, so it can be done. The show is also bookended by women's matches. It opened with the Pure women's match, and it closed, even though it was billed as a double main event. Athena versus Persephone did close the show, so they bookmarked the show. We got Mercedes versus
Red Velvet.
Red Velvet, yes. I kept wanting to say Persephone, and I was like, no, I just said Red Velvet. That was, I believe, that was actually the third match. That was a really, really great match. Red Velvet has really come a long way. And of course, yes, I know Mercedes did play a big part in making her look good because she's Mercedes, but Red Velvet has definitely put in the work.
And even as Tony,
and
she's
even
been around for a really long time. She's been doing.
Yeah, and Tony even mentioned on the media call that a lot of people in the locker room were looking forward to that match because he's like, they know how hard both women work, and he said both women watch tape all the time, and they both work really hard. They have a lot of similar work ethic, and he's like, I know a lot of people in the locker room who are actually looking forward to this match, and I thought Red Velvet looked incredible in that match, and Mercedes did lose. She is now 12 belts, Monet, and she started having a little crash out in the ring. And then apparently it aired on social media, and then they ended up airing it during the show as well. Layla Gray, who defeated Zeta Steel in her debut, she came up and talked to her and was like, you had a really great match. Sorry to hear that you lost. And, it happens. And she was trying to console her, or like just be nice to her. And Mercedes was like, absolutely not. Fuck you. And so she defended her title against her on Collision last night because she got mad at her.
Yeah.
And so she did retain that title. But next Sunday, Mercedes is defending her Repro title against Rio.
I was wondering.
And I mentioned it last week that she had the potential to lose 2 belts in a 9-day span. That's still on the table. She did retain her TBS championship last night.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going yet.
I know, and definitely nothing against Layla Gray, but she's not going to drop that title to Layla.
I was like, if they're doing that tonight, then they're giving her the rub. But if they're going to change hands with the TBS title, I feel like that's pay-per-view or...
It is a pay-per-view match, and I think a lot of people's theory is that it's that she's going to drop that title to Willow. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's been a lot.
That'd be awesome.
Brad says that he was so happy for Red. He wasn't expecting her to be the first person to beat Mercedes in an AEW for a title. Mercedes was really holding. Story of the Downfall has officially started. Yeah, I am really looking.
People are finally going to see what we've been talking about the entire time.
Yeah, and Nikki said that I'm sorry, not Nikki. Her thing was underneath it. Michael said it looked like Layla legit got hurt in that match with Mercedes. I think it was her knee. And I think she's had knee issues before, but I haven't heard anything coming out of that. So I'm curious to find out how, if she was injured, if Layla was injured in that match last night. I hope not. But yeah, so seems like maybe things are changing. Maybe we are starting the downfall of Mercedes Monet, which is what we've been waiting for, because it's been a blast watching her win these 13 titles and piss off so many fans and just be incredible and build up these other women and put women's wrestling on, just elevate it globally, which has been phenomenal to see. But watching her downfall is going to be
it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be so much fun. She's great. And then when she eventually wins the AEW World Championship, whenever that happens, like Mercedes is doing some really great storytelling, and she's having incredible matches at the same time. I really love everything that they're doing with her, and I love what she's doing for other women and for women's wrestling. Is just incredible. I'm trying to think of what else from the card I want to go through. There was some of the matches I'm going to have to go back and watch, because while I volunteered to watch ROH because A, I wanted to see it, and B, I didn't want to watch SmackDown, I was the only one covering Ring of Honor. And so I ended up having to write 5 articles for that show. And so I'd really have to go back and watch Eddie versus Josh Woods. I saw bits and pieces of it, but not in where I really wanted to watch it. That, from what a lot of people loved that match, thought it was really, really great. Thought Josh Woods looked great against Eddie. And of course, Eddie is Eddie. So I'll definitely have to go back and watch that one. They did do the tag title match. It was for the vacated titles. No surprise here that Sammy Guevara won the title that he just vacated with Roosh. He now holds it with my tribal chief and tarot reader, the Beast Morto. Okay, that's all right. So Mercedes booked herself to lose, but booked her man to win.
Yeah. So. Weird.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Let her man
She's
get
great.
some gold.
Good booking, Merce.
Yeah, good job. And yeah, exactly. The creative control people can shut up now. Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Got her. She's taking care of everything. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that match, it was fine. And it was obvious where it was going, and so I think that was just like, okay, whatever. The trios match, STP did retain, but there was some interesting stuff in the media scrum. Shane Taylor, I don't think Lee saw it happen, and so Shane helped Lee win because he decked Nigel in the face, and Lee didn't see it, and Lee doesn't realize that Shane helped him win. And then STP barely held on to their trios titles, and so Shane Taylor was pissed in the scrum. He was yelling he was fussing at them, and he was like, "You almost lost your ROH title." And Tony was like, "No, he didn't. The title was not on the line." And he's like, "And I think you need to stop being so hard on him." So I don't know if Tony knew that they were going to work an angle in it, or I mean, I guess he was just playing his part. He probably did know, but yeah, I was like, "Oh, things are getting real heated." So that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. So right now, all of STP still has gold. I still need Trish Adora to get some gold.
Yeah. Let's go.
I need that to happen. And then they did this. So the final of the double main event, the first of the double main event matches was the survival of the fittest match. It was Bandito versus Sammy Guevara and Beast Mortos, who just won the tag team titles. They were in this match. Right. Hechicero, Commander, and Blake Christian. Blake Christian, I didn't realize until he said it on Thursday, or maybe before the show, he is undefeated in his singles matches in ROH for the last year, and I did not realize that he was undefeated. I was like, oh, okay, so I guess that's part of why they put him in there. Unfortunately, he did not come out to Jack Harlow because we thought that maybe he was, because he seemed to tease it, but Sean Ross Sapp, that's what he asked about on the media call, because he tweeted that tease, and then he hadn't been on ROH since then. Did he finally get the Jack Harlow approval? And Tony said no. He's like, I don't know how you get 1% approval of something. He was like, but that's all we got, and I don't know how we get the other 99%. He's like, but I would gladly pay the cash for Blake to use the song. And he's like, I've ran into Jack a couple times and I didn't want to bother him. He's like, but maybe I should have went up to him and been like, hey, can we use this song? But the survival of the fittest, they basically each a competitor will eventually, if they get pinned during the match, they're eliminated. So it's an elimination style match. Comes down to Bandito, Hechicero, and Blake Christian, which is a really interesting Senate in 2025. But Blake ended up being, and Blake was the only one. Everybody else had an alliance going into the match except Blake. And then Blake, he ended up trying to obviously fit himself in, and he played himself. He ended up getting eliminated by Hechicero. And then it came down to Hechicero and Bandito, and they have such great chemistry together.
Nice.
A few times I thought Hechicero was going to win, especially because Bandito's shoulder has been problematic for a while. And I didn't know if maybe that's where we were going with this, is let's let him rest. That's why, he dropped the tag titles, I thought maybe. But Bandito, being Bandito, found a way to win. And it was a really, really good match. Bandito is having a career year. I am not mad at him winning. I wanted Hechicero to win because Hechicero is a double contract. He has a contract in CMLL and AEW. He's great, and poor Bandito probably should rest that shoulder. But they asked him about his shoulder in the scrum, and he said, because it looked like it looked like his shoulder I'm pretty sure Blake Christian pulled it out of socket. And you could kind of see it. But he said in the scrum that his shoulder was fine. It was his elbow that was bothering him that night because he hit it really hard. But so Bandito retained. Yes, Brad said that he was hoping that Hechicero would win the title, but he's glad Bandito retained. Brody King came to celebrate with him afterwards. Nice. He went and celebrated with some fans, and then Commander came out and celebrated with him, and it went off the air with that. Michael said, hot take, I wanted to see Vanilla Baby to win the survival of the fittest match. That would have been really interesting. Like, I wouldn't have hated it because I enjoy Blake Christian. I have been a fan of his since I saw him in GCW before he even went to NXT for 5 minutes. I've always liked him. So I don't know if I would have wanted him to win the title then, but I do like him. I don't like the I'm not crazy about the face mask that he wore. He says Blake's Swirl mask made it look like he had poopies for her face. Yeah, I didn't like it. It was supposed to look like an ice cream cone. It had like a pink, I think it was pink, like ice cream, and then like the bottom part was a waffle cone. It was a choice.
Just didn't work out.
I was like, all right, Blake, you do you.
And then play out as well.
Yeah, and then our main event was Athena versus Persephone. It was phenomenal, of course, because Athena is Athena. Persephone is fantastic. The more I watch her, the more I really like. I mean, she's so good. Her matches are good. I would not ever be mad at her being if she were to be an ROH champion somewhere down the line. I would not be mad at that. She's just really, really good. A few times I did think that they may actually, I was like, are they really going to have her? But then I was like, they're not going to make her drop this title 5 years before she gets to officially 5 days before she officially gets to 3 years. They're not going to do that. But Persephone made it very convincing at times. And Diamante, who is the newest member of the MIT, she got involved a couple times, but Athena won clean. Billy was not out there, which was really interesting. Especially because she lost. She was in the opening match, and she didn't come out there. She came afterwards when Athena did retain, and she did celebrate with her. And Athena, during the scrum, I could only hear part of it because the audio was kind of off. Athena did put her in minion time out because she lost her match. And she did not win the title, and so she put her in minion time out for a little bit. But she was great. And shout out to Kyle Sparks, who's been on our show before, and his ROH show is currently on hiatus. But he went as media. He asked her a question. He asked Bandito a question, and then he asked Tony something afterwards. He had some really good questions. So shout out to Kyle Sparks for getting to do that. Let's see. Michael said, my God, that German suplex from the top rope from Athena to Persephone looked filthy. It did. Athena's, we know this is not news, but Athena's so damn good. Like, she's just incredible. Yes, she did land all over her head and neck, and then she went right into the O-face. Brad said, this is the only match I didn't like the outcome to. I love Athena, but it's time. There's nothing left for her to do at this point. Tony loves milestones. December the 10th, she will be champion for exactly 3 years. I knew as soon as I realized that a few months ago, I was like, oh, well, whoever she faces at Final Battle is going to lose. There's no way he's going to get her within 5 days of exactly 3 years as champion to have her.
So you don't think she's going to, it sounds like, because you don't think she's going to lose the ROH title on the AEW pay-per-view, do you?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because he's done it before. He's booked
because that's
ROH.
The next closest thing. And when is the next ROH pay-per-view? Is that
it's either end of March, early April is typically where Supercard of Honor is. But he did mention Global Wars, so I guess there's like a potential to do it on a big show like that, maybe. Okay. There is the Boxing Day show on the 26th, and that's gonna have Bandito versus Commander, I believe. Wait, is that no, not Bandito. Commander versus, that's Commander versus Lee Moriarty. Because remember last week I said that Commander, he won that Proving Ground match, and I thought he was going to get his title match on Friday, but then they put Commander in the Survival of the Fittest match. He's getting that, I believe, unless I've confused myself, which is possible because Tony keeps booking things the way he does. If I remember correctly, I'm sure somebody in the comments will confirm or deny, but I believe the Boxing Day match, is Commander versus Lee Moriarty. Because if Commander had won the world title, it would have been a title for title match, but he didn't win. So I believe it's just that match. So it's possible that they book Athena on that match. It would be after her 3-year period. The thing is, other than Persephone, they have not really built up anyone to convincingly beat her and be the next champion of that division, which has been my biggest complaint for months, is they've not used what she has done for the women's division to build somebody up to credibly beat her and run that division. And I really, really hope that they don't have her just vacate and just have that. I think that would be a disaster, which I've talked about multiple times. I hope she actually drops the title to somebody and puts them over on the way to the main roster and does not just vacate it and be like, figure it out yourselves. And so, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there. Oh, yeah, she did have a really cool entrance for doing the Demon Slayer, and she pulled out a blade with sparks. Yeah. That Brad says that ROH might have one of the most diverse rosters and list of champions right now. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Crash says Bandito could lose it in CMLL since Claudio just won their world heavyweight title. I wonder, which he definitely could lose it in CMLL. I think that once the C2 is over, I think Mascara Dorada is going to challenge him after that match they had last night, which was so good. And Mascara Dorada got the win. And I think even if he doesn't defeat Claudio, I do think that's where they're going. I think Mascara Dorada is going to challenge him for that. Michael, they better not make this go for a 4th year. I cannot, I would not be mad at Billy. And I wondered when she put her in Minion timeout, I did say to my sister, oh, is this how they're kicking off that feud? She's going to start belittling Billy again. That's going to make her angry. Are we doing this Super Card of Honor? This match cannot last. I mean, I don't want to hold that title for a 4th year. Because at that point, you might as well make her hold it for 5.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, if I don't have an issue with it being Billy at this point, Billy is probably the only one who makes sense because of the story they've had and the long-term feud they've had on and off for 3 years. But I don't know how you get Athena into a 4th year as champion. I would, if they're gonna do it, it should happen at no later than Supercard, I would say, and even that is a lot. And I'll say then they moved the Supercard date this year, so depends on when they're actually going to do it. Yeah, I agree with Brad that vacating would be totally outside of everything Athena has done. She's the forever champion, so just to vacate it wouldn't make sense. For Athena, no, it would not make sense. For Tony Khan, it probably would make sense. And again, as I brought up before, I also don't want her to vacate it because that's what happened to Ember Moon in NXT when she wrestled Asuka, and then Asuka, she could not beat Asuka. Asuka went to the main roster and just vacated the title after 500 days.
Right.
So I'm hoping, I hope that Athena would be like, I'm not doing that to another woman.
Again.
Not after 3 years. I'm not doing that. I hope that Athena has enough pull with Tony Khan to be like, absolutely not. We're not doing that.
No, please.
Yeah. Crash said he was thinking the same too. He's a bit hesitant that Mascara is due a CMLL world title shot first after beating Claudio. Okay. Did not know that. Good to know. I thought, God, really, like Claudio and Takeshita was, I mean, not Claudio, Mox and Takeshita was phenomenal, but I think
Very
that
good.
because of that, people aren't talking about Mascara Dorada and Claudio because that match was, I thought was.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was a really good match.
And that's not to say, and I enjoyed Roddy versus Orange too. Like I thought that was
a good show last night. They had a really solid show
good.
last night.
Yeah.
I love when Mox wrestles other people from Japan like that because then we get New Japan Mox. And he loves breaking out his UFC moves, so it's amazing.
Yes. Okay. Crash says he should be do a world title shot. They suggested it on Collision too.
Interesting.
You know what? I think I did hear them say that. So yeah, we'll just move into the C2 stuff because obviously that's ongoing. The C2 has been delivering so far,
great.
as expected. It's kind of weird that Claudio and John Moxley have already wrestled in the tournament 3 times, and Speedball's wrestled like once. And Roddy's first match was last night. I know it's just the way the brackets work out, but I really enjoyed it. I think even though Takeshita versus Mox was one of the best matches, I really, really enjoyed Kyle Fletcher versus Kevin Knight. I thought we've gotten BOSJ Kevin Knight, and so if you saw BOSJ, then you know what Kevin Knight can do in a tournament. You know how good that guy is. He's both of his matches. His match with Darby was great, but his match with Kyle Fletcher was so good.
Really good.
Drop kick to the face was insane. Like, we talk about how much we love Okada's drop kick, but Kevin Knight has a really good one.
Yeah.
He has a very good drop kick, and he's been great. I thought Speedball, BOSJ Speedball also showed up in his match that he's had. He looked really great too. I think the tournament's been really good so far. I really enjoyed the way they did. I knew Claudio was going to win, but I really enjoyed the way that they did it, where they make you think, okay, there's 5 minutes left. This match is going to end in a draw. And then Claudio, within like a minute, Claudio just like laid on top of his like upper body so that he could not tap out. He can't kick out. There's nothing. He can't get a shoulder up. He can't do anything. And the way I thought the win was like a really definitive win. I thought it was, obviously it's furthering the story of perhaps Claudio will be the leader of the Death Riders. And then, last week I had mentioned that I didn't know if it meant anything, but that, Yuta was the one that Moxley keeps putting over. He cradled him, talks about how he's naturally beautiful. And then in Mexico, it was Claudio and Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia came out with Claudio for that title match. Yuta stayed in the back until he won. I noticed Wednesday night, Yuta went to Moxley when Moxley was sitting when he was upset and was sitting against the barricade and he's covered in blood. And he went to Moxley where Garcia got in the ring with Claudio and Pac. So again, I don't know if it means anything. I am noticing it. Somebody made the point that perhaps maybe that's because they're making it look like so if Yuta is the one to turn on John Moxley, it'll be unexpected because he's the one that Mox seems to favor. Which Yuta originally is who I thought might turn on him.
Well, the biggest surprise would be Marina, honestly.
But then does Yuta, is that the story they want to tell with Yuta, with him already turning on Bryan Danielson to have him do it again to John Moxley? Like, is that where they want to go with Yuta? Of course, it would solidify him even more, I think, as a threat, which could be what they're doing here.
Well, maybe he gets together some of the other people and they all take. We're beginning to see the cracks in the foundation of the Death Riders situation.
Right.
I was going to ask you, because of the way these things are shaking out, do you think they're putting Eddie in the position to maybe have a feud with Samoa Joe and get the world title? I would love that. Maybe I'm fantasy booking what I want to see.
One thing that I will say, first of all, I love Samoa Joe, but after that promo, I want Eddie to beat his ass.
Yep. Same.
They did their job very well. They did their job. And again, I love Samoa Joe. But if Eddie wins, I will not be mad at that in the least. But Eddie said, so they showed that promo in Collision, and Eddie said something that caught my attention as soon as he said it. He's talking about AEW and winning the right way, which is the Death Riders thing, the win the right way. Then he called them, he said, "Don't be a rat." And I was like, wait a minute. Pac said that. Pac said it. I can't remember if it was in a promo or if it was in the up close interview with Renee. But he said, I think it was the interview with Renee. He said that AEW is full of rats and they're full of slimy people and not to trust them. And so for Eddie to say that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Why is Eddie using the same language that Pac used? And so I was
because
like,
John Moxley and Eddie are besties, but he has to fight Claudio for him because you know, they're arch nemesis.
Yes. Which is what I've been saying.
I know. Well, you've been talking about it. It was you that made me wonder.
Yeah. And so now I do think Eddie is getting into the story somehow. Is it because he's world champion? I'm not sure. Because I feel like Samoa Joe is obviously telling whatever story he's telling.
Right.
So I don't know that he's going to win the title. Especially, I don't know if you're going to have Samoa Joe lose his title that fast.
Okay.
But Eddie is going to be in the story somehow. And I don't know yet how it's going to play out. But when he made that comment about Pac, he made the rat comment. I was like, whoa, that's a very specific comment to something Pac said a year ago. And I don't think it was on TV. I think it was that when he was explaining why he was in the Death Riders. And I've said that before, that Pac is basically in this for convenience. They all have kind of the same goal, but Pac he was the wild card. It seemed like if things went sideways, Pac would just leave and he'd have no problem leaving the Death Riders behind. So, which makes him dangerous and makes him somebody you have to watch. So there's a lot of factors here. It could obviously very much be Marina that turns on him. Marina has been looking at him.
She's still wearing the key, you know.
She is still wearing the key. She did kind of
notice it every single time. I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, she did. She did look at him when he lost the other night. She looked at him like, they're going to kill you. They're going to kick you out. Somebody is going to do it. Like, if it's not me.
He's like, I can't protect you anymore.
Or maybe she knows that they're going to do it and she can't do anything about it. Or she's going to be the one to do it because Marina probably is.
That would be the biggest surprise, leader. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Brad makes a great point. Pac's only in the Death Riders because the Lucha Brothers left him. Because his best friend, Penta, went away. I'm sorry, that's Eddie's best friend, Penta, went away. But yeah, so Pac was in Death Triangle. He agrees with Mox in some ways, but he's the guy that could take it or leave it. So there's a lot. Then you have the Yuta factor. Is Yuta turned on Danielson at Claudio's direction? Claudio is the one that gave him the bag and told him that it was Claudio. So has Claudio really been pulling the strings the whole time? Has Claudio been waiting for Mox to mess up?
Well, maybe the rat that Eddie's referring to is Claudio indeed, because he's like, he's been playing you, bro.
So there's so many ways that this could go, which is great.
I think they're telling a story, and I love that they are, and I love that it's making me think about it. But that was something I was like, are they setting Eddie up to be champion? Because that would be the greatest thing ever.
God, I would love it.
He's been here so long.
Yes, and he was, even though Samoa Joe said, you've never won anything, Eddie Kingston should have said, I was the first ever Continental Champion, because he was the one who held all three of those titles. Those titles were created for Eddie Kingston so that he could live out his AJPW dreams. Brad said he saw someone bring up the idea that Kyle O'Reilly could be the one to finally save Mox, that he gained respect for him during their mini feud. And I like that idea.
That's interesting. I like
That's what Nikki and I talked about this again last night because we were talking about it because of the Roddy match. I still don't understand. I mean, I know part of it's storytelling because the losing to Kyle O'Reilly twice in 10 days was supposed to shake Mox, obviously, before going into this tournament. Mox he's lost his last two tournament matches. And I get where we were going with that. But then if they really did, which it seems like they did this fake injury angle to keep Kyle out of the C2, which I think is dumb, but whatever. How do you, once this tournament is over, how do you restart that momentum with Kyle O'Reilly that you had going into this? I was like, don't do him like Wardlow, where you build him up, cool him off, build him up, cool him off, then he gets injured, then he comes back, you cool him off, he goes and films a TV show, and then he comes back and gets injured immediately. Like, let's not do that to Kyle too. Don't build him up and then cool him off. And so how do you rebuild Kyle when he comes back? And so perhaps that's one theory. Maybe Kyle is the one to save Mox. Maybe that's what they do here. So it'll be really, really interesting. Crash says Kyle O'Reilly and Mox's a new stable could be pretty cool. I would like to see Kyle O'Reilly out of the conglomeration. That's just me, maybe. I get it, but I love Kyle with a conglomeration because I think he's very much like Okada. Like, he can lock in. He's forced to lock in and be a really good wrestler, but he just wants to be a silly goose. He just wants to he just wants to play with his friends and be funny and goofy. And in Okada's case, he likes to, even though he did turn on the Young Bucks this week, but generally he likes to wear the Young Bucks gear backstage. So he's forced to lock in. But yeah, it could be. I hope that Kyle figures into this story somehow.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see how you beat Jon Moxley twice in 10 days to do nothing. And clearly it's obviously setting up the knee too, because Mascara Dorada kept focusing on that knee last night. Not Mascara Dorada, Takeshita kept focusing on that knee last night. But then Takeshita had the ankle issue, which is really interesting, especially because this man has a Wrestle Kingdom match in a few weeks. And so there's all kinds of stories playing in this tournament, which I really like. Besides people just having banger matches, we're also getting some storytelling in here. Mike Michael says AEW is cooking the Mox downfall, Mercedes upcoming crash out to Takeshita and Okada. The whole women's division, Team Swerve / Hangman Page. Mid card pushes. Marina's gonna pull out the bag on Mox and the C2 LFG. We're not wrong. We're heading into 2026 hot.
Yes,
they're gonna bring, and then they're gonna bring MJF in somehow.
Yeah, when I was watching that women's segment with Tony and Mina and stuff, and Willow and Harley, I was like, Tony Khan has an embarrassment of riches right now.
He has had one, and it's just gotta.
Well, I think it's starting to gel in a way that it hasn't up till now. And I like those little segments that they're doing a lot with stuff like that, like they did with the women, where I mean Tony Schiavone getting into that with like having it, like, drinking with them. I mean, that was so fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. I really like that. There was a lot of stuff that's been really, really cool. And they've been doing like clips, and they've been rehashing things, and they've been doing storytelling with the promos in the middle with those little skits like that. And I think that's good for it. Yeah. I like that they're keeping us guessing about this whole Death Riders, Eddie, all of that stuff. I mean, there's so many ways that this story could unfold, which I like, not really having a clear, like, it can seem like, and all of them are logical. Like, it would be logical for Marina to be the one. It would be logical for Wheeler Yuta to do to Moxley what he did to Bryan Danielson. It would make sense for Claudio to be the rat that Eddie is talking about. It would make sense for Pac to be like, screw you guys.
I'm going home.
I'm leaving. Or I'll take over. I'll be the leader. Like, I win my matches. I burned Darby Allin, and it was the greatest thing I've ever done in my career. Like, there's so many things that they could do. And then you have Garcia, which, where does Daniel Garcia fit into this? Besides, being the tag team with Wheeler Yuta or do they break up the faction somehow? And does Mox get kicked out completely? If Mox gets kicked out, does Wheeler Yuta go with him and Daniel Garcia stay with Claudio? Or do they, once he's out, they kick him all out? Is Yuta using his friendship with Moxley to use it against him? Like, there's so many factors at play here, which I really like. And then while we're talking about the C2 and Darby, it was announced last night, Darby is out of the tournament. He was legitimately injured in the match with Kevin Knight. He suffered an injury. They said that they originally said on Wednesday was not the incredible coast to coast that Kevin did. They don't know exactly where it happened, but in the promo, Darby said he could not feel his legs. And he said that's the first time he's ever been scared in a match. And Nikki said it sounds like something with his back or a disc.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a very, as Nikki knows, is that when your back gets that bad, you can get that shooting pain that like literally mean like you literally can't feel your legs, or you get that like shooting pain down your back with it. So
very scary.
It can be a little scary.
Yeah.
A lot scary.
Yeah, it could be a lot scary. So what do you think about them adding Jack Perry to the tournament and taking Darby's place?
I would be okay with that. I mean, they
officially announced him last night.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that. I think it's good to get him some time on TV right now because he needs to be more present because he's back now.
Yeah, that was my theory. Because I was like, oh, that's completely unexpected. Did not expect it to be Jack Perry, especially because he's back with Luchasaurus. But I think it's really smart. I think Jack needs to have some singles matches to kind of get back in front of fans, to kind of reestablish himself. I think these could be, and he's got some really formidable opponents in this tournament.
Yeah.
I think it was smart to put Jack here.
I like it.
I wasn't sure who they would put. I hadn't really given too much thought. I'm like, who did they replace Darby with? Like, I was like, besides Kyle O'Reilly, which they're clearly not going to do. So I was like, I like Jack Perry being in there. I think it's smart. I agree, Maria. I think he'll do great in the tournament.
Me too.
I would have preferred Ace Austin too. But I don't know if they're doing some stuff with Ace. I also would have loved to have seen Juice be in it after what happened to him last year. He got like a match or two in and he was injured, but clearly he and Austin are busy with FTR.
Well, I'm glad they're putting Ace Austin at least on television. Like that match with Ricochet was a good match. So it's like, that's a real, they're giving him real matches with real opponents. So,
well, that match with Kyle Fletcher a few weeks ago for the TNT Championship was phenomenal. And then he wrestled on because he's from Ohio, or he's lived there since 2017 or 2018. He said it in his promo, but they used him on ROH on Final Battle as well. He had a really good match. I just blanked on who he wrestled. Why did I just forget who that was? I just blanked on it, but it was a really good match.
Work the way they work.
But Ace is
he's great. I mean, I'm glad that they're giving him time.
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of him since I first saw him on the Indies. So
me too.
I'm really excited about him. And yes, Crash said, pity Juice in that angle with FTR. He deserves to be in the C2 than the injury after last year. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I fast forwarded through most of that because we were trying to catch up, and I was trying to get to the basically.
It's okay. You don't have to explain. No one wants to see
it. No, I know. Nikki was like, I was like, do we listen to what they have to say? And Nikki was like, no. But then
I already know what they have to say. You've heard them say it a million times.
Exactly. And so I saw Juice, and I was like, hold on a minute. So I stopped, I rewound it, and I was like, what's Juice have to say? And so, because when Cash said the other night, when he, in the backstage segment, he called him Mr. Storm. And I was like, say it to his face. Please say that to his face. And he did. And Juice no sold it. Juice was like, okay. And I have my wife is one of the best wrestlers in this company. She's the most over person.
It's like one of the biggest stars in wrestling right now.
Why would I be ashamed? That's my wife. Why would I be ashamed of that? I don't know.
I have no problem with that.
I don't know what these male wrestlers, like, why it's supposed to be like. I was like, why is that supposed to be a diss to say there was? Because they do it to CM Punk with AJ Lee. Like, and he's like, okay, my wife is a successful wrestler. They do it with Becky and Seth too.
It's because it's the mentality. It's the mentality of the people who don't understand, like, it's the people who don't like it when I call Travis Kelce Taylor Swift's fiance.
Right.
That's how I refer to him. I call him Taylor Swift's fiance. That's literally what I call him all the time. And I love watching the mans that don't like that and have a problem with her being way more popular and famous and rich than him. They don't like when I say that, and I love watching them cringe. It's worth it.
There's the same people who get mad at Mercedes for having
booking her
titles.
boyfriend to win.
Right. Right, booking her boyfriend to win. Yeah, exactly. Do you think that if somebody said to Beast Mortos anything about Mercedes being his girlfriend, that he wouldn't just be like, okay?
He's like, you're jealous?
Why?
You jealous much? You projecting?
Yeah, like, why are you mad? I don't, because they just sold. He and Austin just sold like everything they were saying to them.
Yeah,
they just like did not react.
that hard.
Great. And Juice is great at he's really good at, like Nikki was talking about how he's really good at like facial expressions and things like that. And Austin was selling things, and Austin's like, yeah, I'm the son of a Hall of Famer. And
yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree that FTR did struggle to hang up with a Bang Bang Gang on the mic. Austin has
they basically 8-miled them.
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
Yes.
You know what I mean.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
That's what we call it.
I think Austin has really he's gotten a lot of he's got a lot better on the microphone.
He's getting good. He's growing up a lot. I think being with Juice has been a great, and obviously the others, but I think being with Juice and seeing what Juice does when he lets it loose I think that's been really helpful for him, because I think it's opened him up a lot.
I think putting Juice with him has been very,
his
very
confidence
smart.
is definitely growing. You can see it.
Yeah, because he and before the injury, before the second injury, he and Colton had really started to become a really solid tag team but they weren't quite putting all the pieces together yet. And I think obviously putting with somebody like Juice and Jay White of all people was really helping them. And then even with Jay being injured, and unfortunately now Colton's been out for a while too. And I don't think they expected Colton to be out, as long as he has either. I think having Juice there with him has definitely helped, and has, like you said, his confidence has like through the roof now. Yeah, we have both 2 comments in a row about Austin's retort was incredible, telling Cash that he's the son of his cousin.
That was a good one.
Michael said Austin's so great. Cash is the son of his second cousin, and Dax is the SOB. And Dax seemed to get really mad at that comment.
Yeah, I know that line was amazing.
Like, it felt like that was a legitimate, like not a selling, like, oh, you called me an SOB. Like, it felt like he got a little mad.
Funny. It was good. That was a good line. I was trying to remember. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I was like, what was that line you dropped? It was so amazing. That was it.
Austin.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
That up, he had to follow up last week, knocking Dax's belt to the ground. Like, that was really good. And so he had to follow that up. And I think following up this week with that was really good. And then Juice saying, we've got 2 words for it. Everybody yells guns up. And he said, and new. And I was like, God, I was like, please, 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 please. Let me have this. Please let me have this. And
actually, you know what? I was just thinking about it. It's Juice and Jay came up in the dojo roughly about the same time, and we're young lions together. So it's probably them having that knowledge is definitely helping Colton and Austin.
For sure.
Because when you think about the fact that, like, because we remember, like, when Jay White was like a little asshole, and then he became Jay White, like the Jay White that we know now and love and hate, love to hate.
Right? Yeah,
they're awesome. I love that. I can't wait till he's back.
It was funny because I had said that I tweeted right after FTR won, and there was a segment that. It was a promo of backstage of Juice talking about obviously how they won their $200,000 hairs, and he was like, we have to save our money, we're investing it, and we're going to be smart with it. We're going to make millions of dollars. And I quote tweeted it, and I was like, you put the title on those 2 when you could have put the title on these 2. And then the feud started. I mean, I think that's probably where it was going anyway.
I hope so.
Like, that's where I was going. I was like, please. I was like, I don't need Christian and Hope to have the tag team titles right now. Let me just have Juice and Ace Austin. Austin Gunn. The Bang Bang Gang have the titles. The fans clearly love them. Those fans have been, like, the last few weeks, those fans have been really, really behind them. And wait, there's the comment that I was gonna go back. Oh yes, thank you, Michael. I knew it was Big Shotty Lee Johnson, an ace. that wrestled on the pre-show, and they did kill it. And I think Lee Johnson's super underrated. I like that they put him with Blake Christian. I think that has helped too, but I think Lee Johnson gets overlooked a lot. I know he was injured for a bit too, and so that took him out, but I really, really like Lee Johnson, and so he and Ace Austin killed it. Because Ace Austin's just been having fantastic matches. And so, yes, Austin's mic game has gotten really good. And Crash said that FTR are like two angry dads. They're so straight and up their own asses.
Yeah.
Yes. Pretty much.
True
So
story.
obviously Winter Is Coming is going to be a huge match, or huge show rather. Like, it's stacked. And even the Collision episode is stacked, which I will not be watching Collision live because I will be at a Christmas party. And so I will not be on Collision coverage on Saturday.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna. That's New Year's Eve or Christmas
No.
Eve, right?
No. This is next
Our Winter
Saturday.
Is Coming.
Winter Is Coming is Wednesday. The Collision version is Saturday in Cardiff, Wales. So it will be I believe it's still pre-taped, but it will air here at 4:30 Eastern time.
On Wednesday.
No, on Saturday.
Okay,
Collision.
now I'm confused.
Okay, so Winter Is Coming is this Wednesday. That's where they're doing Eddie versus Samoa Joe.
And
They're doing the C2 matches. They're doing the women's tag team match, which we will come back to in just a second. And Saturday is at 4:30 because show. That is the show from Cardiff, Wales. That's the one where they're doing Mark Briscoe versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. They're doing Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander versus Tekla and I think, who is Tekla's partner? Is it Julia?
I can't remember.
Why am I blanking on it? They just did the thing last night where Tekla took out, all three of them took out a bunch of women, a bunch of random women last night that they took out. And then I think they're doing more C2 matches. And I feel like there was one. Oh, and then they're doing FTR versus Juice and
Right. Okay.
That
makes way more sense because I thought they were trying to show a show at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. And I'm like, guys, it's not a holiday.
No, Collision is. But then they are doing a show. They're doing the Miracle on 34th Street or Christmas on 30th. They're doing that show, I think December the 20th. And then I think the next night they're doing Collision. But I don't know if that's a live one or if that's a taped.
So they're not going to do a 3-hour Dynamite on Christmas Eve. They're going to do it separated.
I can't remember. The schedule is weird.
Yeah,
because I
that's
think
the week of the pay-per-view. That's actually the week the pay-per-view happens.
I think they are airing something on Christmas Day. I think.
Okay, interesting. That's the week of the pay-per-view because the pay-per-view would be that weekend after Christmas.
The pay-per-view is the 27th.
7th, and Christmas is on a Thursday this year, so it's 2 days after.
I have to double check because there's a show in so after Cardiff, the Dynamite after is in Manchester, England. And then I think they come back to the States right after that. I think that Collision, the schedule is a mess because I was like, I got to figure out like what day I have to write because I won't be here because I have a Christmas party this Saturday, so I won't be on that one. But I think the Saturday after that is also an afternoon show. I think it's at 2:30 the Saturday after, I believe. So Wednesday night, so the Wednesday shows are regular time. It's Collision that is different times. And they posted a schedule a few weeks ago, and you know what? I wonder if I still have that screenshot. Because I screenshot it to send to. Actually, you know what? I may have it in my messages with my editor because I sent it to him. So I was like, just so you know, Collision dates are going to be weird.
Right, because they're on GMT for a change.
Yes. Let me see if I can find it.
You guys are like, ha, for a change. We don't have to get up at 3 in the morning and or stay up until.
Let me see. Okay, yeah, here we go. Let me look at the schedule. Okay, so Collision this Saturday, or Collision this up December the 13th will air at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. That also, so they're in Cardiff, Wales. That night is Saturday night's main event. That is John Cena's final matches next Saturday night. They were not going head. They're not going head to head with that. It'll be over with by the time that starts. Okay,
because it's on.
Then Wednesday, the 17th has Dynamite at 8, Collision at 10, and then the countdown to World's End. Then, why are they doing that early? Maybe because of Christmas. So then December the 20th, Collision's going to be on at 2:30 in the afternoon. Dynamite on Christmas Eve is listed at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
And then Christmas Collision will be at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so they are.
Yes, and then there's no tailgate brawl listed yet for World's End, but I'm sure there will be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, their schedule's really confusing. And I'm glad I looked at that again because I will be doing Collision.
I was wondering about that for Wednesday, and for the Christmas Eve one, and what they were going to do there. So
I have to find out if I'm working Christmas night.
Yeah, right.
Find that out, or if the other person that's doing coverage, or she's doing it. So yeah, the schedule's always
all over the damn
it's
place.
all crazy because this is the first time, because they've never aired on Thanksgiving before, and this is the first, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that they've wrestled on Christmas or had a show on Christmas. Okay, so Crash said, I was wondering that's just 2 weeks in the UK. That makes more sense. Was wondering why they weren't just flying out to Cardiff next week. Haven't really promoted the Manchester ones on TV. And then he said, that's a late one, 9:30 here. If they're taping Collision right after, no one will get to leave the building until 1:30. I don't know how they're doing that. And I don't think I assume they're not filming ROH either, because they stack up like the blood and guts, the matches we got. While they were in the UK, I guess is when those were airing. But then Brad does point out that TNT and TBS have Christmas Story Marathon, so AEW has to move. Michael said, damn, with all these time changes, the ratings are going to be in the sewer, not to be a ratings guy.
Nah,
well, and they're also,
fine.
When you're going on Christmas Day, you're also going up against the NFL.
Correct.
Because they did it on Thanksgiving, and then the Christmas has they do 3 games on Christmas as well, right? I think they do.
I can't remember how many there are on Christmas now.
Yeah.
Because they've been changing the schedule so much the last few years, and I haven't been as closely watching the NFL.
Yeah. Thanksgiving, so I know for sure, had 3 games. I think Christmas also has 3 games.
Okay, yeah, because the Dallas game and the Detroit game are tradition, and then they added that night game.
Yeah, and then isn't hockey also happening?
Probably.
I don't know if they do hockey on Christmas Day.
What is they do
they do that
the one that's outside the classic.
That one. Yeah,
but
is that one Christmas or is that New Year's? That's New Year's, isn't it?
I think so.
And they're doing New Year's. They posted it while they put up a graphic. They're doing New Year's Smash. Are they doing that? What?
Oh my gosh, New Year's is on a Wednesday too.
Yeah, so I don't remember
Lord.
what day. So New Year's Smash, I think, is on New Year's Eve, right? Is that what they announced last year? Yes, I almost said that.
Looking at my calendar, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of Wednesdays they're on.
I don't keep up with basketball, and I almost said that I think the NBA has games on Christmas. So thank you, Brad.
That's what it is. Yeah, okay.
I thought about it, and I was like, okay. So thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of going on, and for people who keep up with ratings, NFL and the NBA is probably gonna repeat and marathons of Christmas movies.
Well, yeah, that's the 24-hour marathon of Christmas Story on Christmas Day is like a tradition. So
yes,
they start at midnight. I think.
I'm so glad that Wrestle Kingdom is on a Sunday because I work a day. My day job comes back on the 2nd, so I am very glad that it's on a Sunday. Good for me. Yes, they do still do the dog show. They did on I don't know if they do. They do one on Thanksgiving. It's always after the parade. He said he remembers when WWF used to get preempted back in the day for some dog shows. They did. I don't think they do. They still do the Christmas one?
I can't remember.
I can't remember if they still do a dog show. The dog show that I always think of is on Thanksgiving. That's when they do the big one. But yes. So yeah, we'll be here to remind you of collision dates as they approach. We'll talk about it. We're gonna have to keep up for ourselves. So we will also help you to remember when these shows are gonna air, because I'm already confused.
Same.
No, Wrestle Kingdom is just one day this year, and then New Year Dash is the following day.
Back to normal.
There is no Wrestle Dynasty next year. It's just the two. Just the
nice.
Just the normal. The
normal. Back to normal.
Yeah.
We like it. I don't like the culture of it, so I stay away from that. I don't like the culture
of it, but I will look at dogs. There's always
I'll look at them. I'm fine. It's like horse racing. The behind the scenes stuff is so gross that I can't handle the front.
I don't watch anything with horse racing. There's always new dog breeds that I've never heard of. I'm like, where did all these come from? I was excited. There was it the beagle? No, it was the tree hound.
Oh
one. Yeah. It won like one of the higher ones this year. So I was like, and apparently the dog handler that won, I think it's from North Carolina, which I was like,
nice,
good for you, I guess, because your culture is weird. But I watch pro wrestling and they have a shitty culture.
Yeah, no,
too,
I wouldn't say it like that. It's just some of the treatment of the animals is not.
Oh no, absolutely no. I absolutely refuse to watch
as a person who has mostly like you, shelter and rescue dogs. It's just not something that. And especially because like this time of year, it's largely like there's people unfortunately going out buying puppies that they're not going to have in 3 months. And
believe me, yeah. I used to work in the vet field, so I'm well aware of people buying cute animals for holidays, including Easter when they would buy bunnies.
Yep.
And then so I saw a lot of that happening.
That's why I get nervous about the Bluey show, because blue heelers are not for everyone. They are adorable when they are small, but they are a working breed dog. And if you have a kid who watches Bluey, you can't have a Bluey because you have a kid. Unless that kid's grown or you work on a farm.
Right.
Because they herd and they're smart. They remember where they leave things in the yard for hours.
Yeah.
They'll stare at it. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah. I know that you are, so you know. I
can't outsmart them. They're smarter than me.
Yeah.
Don't buy a Bluey.
No, don't buy a Bluey. Yeah, they were have to do some like PSAs for that kind of stuff.
I know, but it's never worked. Even the Dalmatian movies, when they came out, they did the same thing happen. It was so dumb.
Yep.
It's like,
it's back to Dalmatians. They're
high maintenance, dude. They're not high for everyone.
They can be not very nice dogs.
Yeah. You just have to know what you're doing. It's like with every dog. It's like,
yeah.
Largely I'm like, get a lab or just don't get a dog. Because most labs are goofy enough, but even then it's like, it's still a dog. It still has feels. Just get a fish, get a cat.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for someone to, but think about it this way. No one ever thinks about it this way. Someone has to babysit your dog every time you're not home. So don't get one. If you can't already find babysitters for your kids, especially, or if you struggle with childcare. Yeah, I know. Sorry. It's my it's my Silent Hill horn is going off. So.
She told you at the beginning that she
warned you guys before. I have the fire department, volunteer fire department does. This is the first weekend of the month, and they always do. At least you guys didn't get yesterday. The first Saturday of the month, they blow the horn just contiguously for a long time. It's like a 13-minute thing or something. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's like a Tony Khan answer.
It is. It's exactly like a Tony Khan answer. It just goes on and on and on and on, and it ends up. It just ends up somewhere else from where it started.
Crash says Operation Duck and Cover.
Yeah. You guys, I try to talk over it or mute the mic, but
Okay.
Sam and I are having a conversation, so I'm like, yeah. For those of you who are new to the program, we live near the fire department.
Sometimes it doesn't come through because she won't even mute it, and sometimes I can't even hear it come through. But every once in a while,
Sometimes it gets too loud, or it's where I am.
Maybe one day we'll.
And then
we'll
once
get
in a while
the
you hear
call.
the train, which is also a block away. So I've got my hype train in the backyard.
There, perfect. You need your.
And then we pick up the trucker shortwaves in the back here. So, you never know.
She can't imagine how the animals would handle that, hearing the sirens.
They're actually, so they're pretty good about it because Riley has had it her whole life. So she has had it since she was a puppy. It did scare her the first day, like one of the first days she was here, and she came running and like jumped in my arms. But she's gotten used to it. Bear, actually, if he's outside, will start to howl with it, which is actually cute because we haven't had a howler in a while. Not since our first German Shepherd. So it's kind of cute. He sings with it.
That sounds like something. Actually, I don't know that Sadie would sing with it. I think she would just bark.
It's cute.
Sadie,
we have a lot of barkers in the neighborhood. We have a lot of dogs that do in fact bark when it's going off. So
yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
It's a fiasco for everyone. Believe me.
He said you need to move your shed into the middle of the interstate for some peace and quiet.
Maybe. You think it's loud here?
Yeah. He used to love the puppy bowl they used to do. The puppy bowl on Animal Planet. He said
puppy bowl is now during the half bowl, the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Excuse me.
Yeah,
get that in there.
He said, "Did I say shed? I meant studio." LMAO.
If you didn't know, it's America. I might have only been able to afford a shed.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What I was gonna ask before the siren decided that it wanted to be part of the show, and so going back to Winter Is Coming on Wednesday, we're getting the finale of the women's tag team tournaments. We will crown our first inaugural tag team champions. It will either be Babes of Wrath or the Timeless Love Bombs. Who do you think is winning?
I think the Timeless Love Bombs are going to keep going here because I think that's who's winning the titles. Although I know that Harley and Willow are awesome, and I think that's where this is going, and I'm okay with it because I want the belts. Not that Harley and Willow couldn't be the inaugural champions. I think that where Tony and Mina are, though, will really solidify that those belts mean something. And then you get either Willow wins the TBS championship or you have Harley and Willow go after them and start a feud with them to make a good feud for the first feud of the belts.
Yeah, I think that's where this has been going the whole time. Like seeing that bracket, I think it was pretty obvious that Timeless Love Bombs would win. I don't have a problem with it. I think it makes sense because Tony is the biggest wrestler in not just AEW, just like she's one of the top wrestlers in the world in all of wrestling. And I think putting the titles on somebody like Tony, like you said, solidifies them and how serious they are, will help the titles be on TV more often being on Tony. Not that, like you said, not that Willow can't carry it, but sometimes they can't find place for Willow on TV, which is unfortunate because Willow is incredible and should be champion. And I hope she is the TBS champion again. I hope that's where that eventually leads, is Mercedes versus Willow at some point down the line. But I think that maybe guarantees a bit more that these tag titles will be on TV being on a Tony Storm, because Tony Storm's already featured. Yes, you could make the argument that you should put it on somebody who doesn't get as much TV time, which I agree with, but I don't know.
We'll get there.
Dynamite still generally gets one women's match a week. And so they're going to have to rotate out who that woman is. And Tony is more likely to be on TV than Willow and Harley are. And I don't think it's a bad strategy. I mean, Tony is one of the best wrestlers. Mina is a very good wrestler in her own right. They have their own.
They know each other.
If we didn't already know they were going to win, when they started doing a TikTok dance for their entrance, I was like, oh, they're definitely going to win these titles because you have the CEO dance. You're gonna have the Mina and Tony. Definitely are gonna. You have them. They're likable people, and of course, I mean, Willow is the most likable person on the planet. So again, it's interesting to me that they are doing babyface versus babyface here for the title because they're both like. Willow is, I mean, Tony may be the biggest wrestler on the roster, but Willow is the biggest babyface. She's somebody that everybody loves, and Harley has come a long way in her short time there. And, you know, that's the conversation you and I have had a lot is once these belts are established and have a winner and have champions, you have to build up a good division or you're going to end up like WWE where I will say, since the AEW Women's Tournament has started, they have booked the WWE Women's Tag Team way better than they have. They're booking those titles better than pretty much any of their other titles right now. So that's nice to see. Again, this comes back to competition is good for everybody.
Yeah, right.
They really started they were already kind of pushing it, but once the AEW tournament started, they really started focusing on those women's titles and having a lot of people in the title picture, which is great for them. And it's great for me when I have to watch it, at least I have something I can enjoy.
Right.
So I appreciate that for me. But, and of course for the women. So, but that's the thing, you know, and WWE, I mean, AEW had a hard time booking their men's tag teams for a while. It was really hard to even care about the men's tag team for a while. And they finally got it going again. It seems to be on the right track. And I'm hoping the same for the women. And there's a lot of good women in this tag team tournament that they've already had that will hopefully be the division that they continue with. So even though I do hope Willow eventually gets the TBS championship, I think we're still a bit away from that. So that you can have Willow and Harley continue to team and be a threat for those titles. You can have Sisters of Sin, you can have Anna and Ty, especially because they got knocked out so early and they're the original tag team in AEW. Like they could, if they do this right, which, you know, it may I'm sure it's going to come with some bumps and they're not going to book it perfectly and it's going to, you know, take some time. But if they overall, like I think that they have a good division started and I hope that they will continue with that. And so,
if they can solidify the belts, which I think the smartest move there is because Tony is the biggest star right now. And they're, you know, that's who you put it on. You make it serious. Don't do what the other company did. Don't put it on the absolute wrongest girls that you could possibly put it on and then dig a big hole for yourself. Yeah. Like, I like it better. I think it's going to be a great match. I think that's four ladies that everybody loves right now.
Yeah. Right. And they did the segment with Tony Schiavone was a lot of fun. Oh my
God, that was amazing.
And then they have Tony said he was torn in his heart on who would win. Which was great. And so I'm going to go to the comments and see what they're thinking. Crash said timeless love bombs definitely got to be weird having two face teams facing off. Fernando says timeless Tony and Mina should totally win to establish the titles. Brad says that he's been team Babes of Wrath the Babes of Wrath train since the start of the tournament. He's not wavering. Willow gets the big title run. Listen,
all right.
You cannot go wrong here.
Bold predictions. I love it.
Either team would make sense. Either team could solidify those titles. Putting the titles around Willow waist, you can't go wrong with that. Harley has definitely come into her own. People love her. So if we're wrong and Babes of Wrath win this, I will not be mad in the least. I love Willow. I'm a huge fan of hers. I really like Harley a lot. So if that's how we go, I'll take it. I will
Well, it
not
would give them a chance to
mad.
really prove themselves. So
Yeah.
that would be fun too.
Yeah.
We
Go ahead.
are the winners of this one. That
Isn't
wins
that
this
true?
one. This
Yeah.
is one of those times.
For sure. Nikki says she's not surprised it'll be on Tony because obviously she draws people in, like when they put the first title on Jericho to get people to pay attention. Right. That,
Yeah,
you know,
except that
that's what
Tony's
they're-
way
like
better
the-
than him.
Yeah.
Which I know you know, Nikki, but
yes. Yes. If you don't love Willow, you're just wrong. Yes, as our
I
friend
love that
Doc
you're
wants-
I love Metallica still. It's just
fun,
hilarious
yes.
to me. It pops me every time inside.
And then every time when Doc always tweets, Doc Mueller from Bleacher Report always tweets, everybody shut up, Willow is on. And the other day it was everybody shut up, Willow and Harley are on.
I'm with him.
Crash says, love Willow. She can do the put a smile on thing, but it's actually genuine about it. It's not even a sell. Yeah, I think that's part of the reason she resonates. Obviously, she's incredible in the ring, but she's so authentic, and I think that's why people love her. And a lot of us watched her from when she was on Dark and worked her way up to the main roster, and to see her. And then, of course, people who watched her on the Indies. We got all of that as well. So I think Willow is great, and they have probably failed her in some ways and not cashing in on her when they probably should have.
But they've had that problem with a few people, and hopefully they're pushing past that.
Yeah. Brad says, I think there's more places to go with Tony and Mina. If they lose, then there is if Willow and Harley lose. Which, that's a good point, because if they continue on their losing streak, I mean, obviously, yes, they've gotten some more wins lately, but they were both, obviously, when the same night that Tony lost her title, Mina lost the interim title. So Brad makes a really good point. That's a very good story that you can tell with if Tony and Mina lose these titles or lose this title shot and Babes of Wrath win, then watching where Tony and Mina
I like where your mind is, Brad. I'm not arguing with you at all. I think that they have just as much potential to build the belts up as anything. My heart is okay with that. My head tells me it's probably going to be Tony and Mina, but my whole self doesn't care.
I'm right there with you.
As I just said, we are the winners of this match.
Right. Of course. Yes.
I love that this is the match.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. The holiday hardcore death match was a bit sloppy.
Oh, geez.
It was fun. But it was a little on the sloppy side. It was a little bit of a mess. But it worked. And we got Luther back. So there's always that. Michael says, wow, he's actually stomped. His heart says Babes of Wrath, and his head says Timeless Love Bombs. It's a win either way. Yeah, I think
exactly
for
right.
Sure. Yeah, it definitely
I think we're all in agreement that this is a big love fest, and I'm glad that they're making their tag team titles be that. I mean, it's a big deal.
That's what I was just about to say, that it's good that we're already having this where we're torn on who should win, who could win, where you go with either one of those. But then also we've got formidable teams that could challenge for these titles. Because I mean, Maria, I was kind of leaning towards the Sisters of Sin a little bit too. And the Sisters of Sin are a really great team. And I think that eventually, if they wanted to, depending on how this plays out, you can go with Sisters of Sin being tag team champions, and then having Tekla having one of either having the world title or the TBS title. And then you could have all three of them in gold, which would be awesome. That would be such a fun story to tell as well.
The tournament actually ultimately established some good tag teams.
Yes.
So now there's not just a belt, the belts. There's actually women to compete for the belts afterwards now.
I also think that one of the things that what I was going to say was that Ty, and I'm hoping with Ty and Anna that this is going to force them to step up their game, because they are good, they are solid, but they are not quite at the level where most of the other women in this tournament have been. And there's been various reasons for that. Obviously, Ty, she had a baby and has been working her way back. Anna didn't have hardly any experience when she signed with the company. And then she's definitely improved a lot. She went to Japan, which was a huge help for her. And so I think they're still kind of trying to find their
Establishing.
balance, being back together to being just back in the division. And so I hope this isn't like the end of the road for them. I mean, because Ty had that singles match she had, I thought was pretty solid a couple weeks ago. And so I'm hoping that this will force them to elevate their game, because they are surrounded by a lot of really, really strong talent. And if they want to compete with them and not stick out like a bad thumb, they're gonna have to step up, and I think that they can. It's just they've got to want to, and they've got to put in the work to do it, which I think that they will. And so I think there's still room for them to eventually become champions, depending on
Absolutely.
how this goes. And so I think that there's a lot of really good talent, and so I would like to see. Well, and that's true too, that Anna's end contract season, maybe that's another reason they didn't go further with them, is because
Maybe.
She could potentially, I feel like personally, just based off of nothing, I feel like she'll re-sign. But I guess I wouldn't be, obviously nothing surprises me really at this point. I was more surprised about, Mariah leaving than I would be if Anna left. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like Anna will stay because that's where she's been. That's who took the chance on her, which I guess is the same reason she could go to WWE to try something different. But I think she would, in NXT, she'd just be another blonde wrestler, probably.
Probably true.
She would just,
sadly.
and there's a lot of really good talent. Like you've got Jordan Grace, and you've got Sol Ruka, and you've got Blake Monroe, and you've got Zarya, and Kendall Gray is really a name that I keep seeing popping up, and I saw a clip of her the other day, and she's very good. And so there's a lot of competition out there. Not that there's not AEW as well, but it would be.
It's a different kind of competition, though.
Of course, you can wrestle somewhere opposite of your partner, but obviously Jack Perry is also in AEW, so that may be another reason that she would stay. Yeah, Fernando says he thinks she would stay, that WWE wouldn't know what to do with her. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, but I also hope, I mean, perhaps not winning the title will be like, you know what, if they're not gonna put the tag team titles on me, I'll go over there.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
yeah.
Or maybe she just works on it and she gets into the running for being one of the tag team champions in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is just the beginning in theory, and we want to see this last. So,
yeah, and then Nikki made a good point too, that she wanted Megan and Penelope to win originally because they were so dominant, and she hopes that hopefully they'll win in the future and they could have a long, solid run. Yeah,
I like
when
that,
Penelope is healthy, because Penelope was really coming into her own, and I think that Penelope is very underrated in the women's division, and she's somebody who's been there from the very beginning. She was on the very first All In. I mean, she didn't have a match, but she was there with Joey Janela, and she got very involved in his match. And so she's been around since the very, very beginning. And so she's somebody that I hopefully, depending on whatever happens with this injury, whenever she comes back, she's somebody I'd love to see. Hopefully, and so that's another thing, like, because we don't know what Penelope's, because they're kind of trying to see how her injury is going to heal, and I think they're trying to see if they can avoid surgery. Do Megan and Marina stay a tag team, or now that they're out, does Megan just do I think she's still wrestling in Japan. So does Megan just come back and go on a singles run, and then Marina but now that they've kind of opened Marina up to wrestling matches, I think fans want to see more of that. So do you just keep them as a tag team for now until they figure out what happens with Penelope, or are they going to make Megan a singles wrestler? And then I guess Marina maybe wrestles sometimes on ROH with Yuta, because she'd wrestled some on ROH, and then her and Yuta were having mixed tag matches. So they could do that as well. So it'd be really interesting. Crash said, missed a trick to do a home run moment on Marina and introduce some Christmas bubbles under her feet. They should have. I would have enjoyed that. Oh God, I hated that Mega Problems name. It's terrible. It was awful. I'm like, you gotta come up with a better name. For Megan and Marina, I need them to have a badass name that makes them sound like they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Mega Powers is not it.
No, it's not it.
I hated it. And somebody Somebody tweeted and said that what is with these, like, that Mega Powers, like, he was like, what is with these Swerve and Our Glory ass names? Like, why can't we come up with something more original? And Swerve quote tweeted it with that gif of 50 Cent where he pointed to himself like, now why am I in this?
What did I do?
Okay, thank you, Michael. I wasn't sure if that tournament was over yet. That Megan did finish her tournament in Japan, so he thinks she'll be here competing. Yeah, so maybe they put her in the singles division for a bit, while Marina does whatever they're gonna do with her. I hope now. I've made the comment a couple of times with ROH now having 3 titles. They've gotta build up. That I like that Zeta Steel is starting out in ROH. I think she should be there for a while. They've reportedly signed Lena Cross, who I saw at DPW a couple of months ago. She's very good. I hope she goes to ROH. They're going to have to build up that ROH women's division because not only are you competing for Athena's title, you now have a TV title that Red Velvet won, and now you have a pure title that you have to defend. So you can't have the same... Don't do like they do on SmackDown, where basically it's just Mia Yim is the only one wanting to compete for the U.S. title. Like, you've got to have other women who want these titles. So, and now you've got Diamante and she's in with the Minions. Hopefully that means they're going to use Diamante more because she's very talented. I really like her. So I'm hoping Tony starts building up some of this ROH women's division some, because these women need people to compete with, and it can't be the same women all the time. Like, I don't want to see Trisha Dora competing for the women's title, and then she loses that, and then she turns around, goes to the TV title, and then she goes to the pure title. Like, I need these women I need more women for these titles. So I'm hoping Tony's going to start building them up. Maybe Marina will go over there for the pure title or something. And they also need to use Yuka Sakazaki more. Please. Why are you not using her? She's available. I understand that you put the belt on Deanna, and I'm fine with that, but please use Yuka Sakazaki more, because she's incredible and you have 3 titles. Yuka Sakazaki is somebody who could convincingly beat Athena. They wrestled before early in Athena. They beat her. I mean, Athena did beat her early on in her run. But that was within the first few months of her winning the title. But Yuka Sakazaki is somebody who I could think, if they're not going to do Billy, she would easily be a threat to her, and she's somebody who's believable to beat somebody of Athena's caliber. So maybe they'll do that, but who knows? But yeah, I think we have made it through everything. I know we did touch on Joe and Eddie, as much as I would love to see Edward Kingston win that title.
Yeah, I was just maybe fantasy booking it, because he's been in wrestling for such a long time, and he's such a, like, he's one of the people. Like, wrestling is better for having Eddie Kingston in it. So it would be kind of fun just to have him do that someday. It's just, I don't know. But, it's fun to see him feuding with Joe. That's enough. I mean, I'm with that.
And then that's when I said, this is the type of feuds that, and I know that Joe and Eddie have history, but these are the kind of feuds that I wish that Hangman was having.
Yeah, that
not wrestling other champions, but wrestling people who do not have titles. Wrestling people of why is it
twice
he wrestling
Hangman's? We were talking about this morning. Actually, Bob and I were kind of bitching about this. Is that twice Hangman has been champion, and twice the booking has not been great.
Right.
And this time he was so much hotter than he was the first time. But the first time they didn't book him well. This time they had a chance, but then they did all the shit they did, and then we ended up here. And again, it's not Joe's fault. I don't blame Joe. This is booking.
No.
This is what Tony decided to do.
Yes, and you decided to book Hangman Page like a transitional champion when he was one of the hottest wrestlers you had. Which is stupid as hell. So eventually when Hangman gets that title, it might be a few years because there's a lot of good damn talent, but please fucking book his title.
Give him a real run this time.
Third
time maybe is the charm.
I hope so, because these last 2 title runs were ass. I mean, he deserves better than that. Yes, I heard that today was the last episode of AEW. I am so behind on those shows. I do need to catch up, but I'm sad. But I guess he was running out of people.
I might watch. I don't watch all the time, but I do dip in for the
shows
ones
that
like.
I have seen are incredible, and
yeah, they're a lot of fun. We were saying that we'll probably watch the last one at least because it's the last one.
Yes, the episode with probably still my favorite is the Eddie Kingston episode.
Eddie Kingston is definitely one of the superior episodes.
He did not understand they did not explain to him the concept of the show because they
Eddie's already sassy, so
yeah.
When he has to be on camera doing
I think
stuff.
It was it Private Party? There was one with a tag. Nikki will probably remember. Was it Private Party? There was one that they did with a tag team that was really funny. That was one of the earlier episodes as well, and I can't. Yes, the Ricky Starks. Oh, yes, the Ricky Starks one was. Yeah, that one was very great funny. Too. Yes, shout out to RJ. Shout out to him. Yes. Yeah, I know it was this pure tournament was, even before the tournament was just snake bit because the original thing was supposed to be Serena and Aminata got hurt, and Serena was had her health injuries coming into that, or health issues coming into that, and then just injuries, and then we took freaking forever to do tournament matches, and then Aminata got hurt, and it's been a wild ride.
Yeah. We're there now. Maybe they'll fix it.
Hopefully, so. But you know what? Good for Deanna. Hopefully,
yeah, for sure. She's great.
Yeah, book the titles. Yeah. Oh yeah, Nikki said that she tweeted about how good the Ricky one was, and David Arquette liked her tweet.
That's right. I remember that. We talked about that. That's right.
Yep.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, I think we're still, there's a normal TV show next week. It will be at 4:30. So if you're going to watch Collision, it'll be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time next week. And then we will help you monitor. We'll help you figure out shows as we go along because we'll need.
Yeah, we'll help you monitor the times as well because we need to know for ourselves.
Yes, exactly. And so we will be back here next Sunday at our normal time of 1 p.m. Eastern. Who knows? Knock on wood, what's going to happen? I'm sure we'll have more C2. We'll come. Be happy regardless of who wins the women's tag team titles. We'll be happy about it. And I assume Joe will still be champion this time next week. And maybe we'll have more layers to the Death Riders saga to discuss. But we'll be back, and we hope that you join us. And actually, we're on our road to 200 episodes.
Yeah, we are, man. 7 away.
We're closing in.
7.
Yeah, we're closing in, so you guys will have to help us count that down.
Yeah, maybe we'll come up with something super special.
Yes.
All right. Everyone have an excellent Sunday, and thank you for joining us.